So Chris had an opportunity a couple days ago to talk to the athletic director from over at Pembroke, Justin Domingos, and he was getting me up to speed with what's happening with that program. This is the third year that Brian King's been the head coach. Winless in the first year. Last year they did win 3 games. Actually started pretty well, but were devastated by injuries, including an injury to their quarterback, Jack Kelly, who's back this year. In fact, tore his ACL twice, and he rehabbed at the TB12 facility. So they're eager to get back on the field, see what this team can do. Obviously, Westwood comes into this one the favorite. They're a little bit concerned about how they're going to be able to stop Antonucci tonight, but it's also interesting on the other side, you know, that Brad Pindell gets a chance to debut at home. Always nice to have your first game here at home, get used to the home facility.
Yeah, Brad Pindell coming back to Westwood. He's a native son, graduate of Westwood High School, 1989, and a Super Bowl winner himself on the 1988 squad. He spent the last 6 years at Dover Sherborne, the first 3 as an assistant and the last 3 as a head coach, where he amassed a 16 and 17 record during his 3 seasons. So he's no stranger to the Tri-Valley League, although now he steps up to the Tri-Valley Large, whereas Dover was in the Tri-Valley Small. Kicking off is Nicholas McQuarrie. He's a transfer senior from the state of Florida. Really strong leg on this boy. The kick was nice for high school down to the 10-yard line. A run back, nice run back as he gets outside the coverage.
And that's Nick Lane. That's the guy you got to keep your eyes on. He's, I was told, one of the most dangerous weapons for this Pembroke team. So they're going to start at the 25, which is basically where they would have been had the ball gone into the end zone. You don't see a lot of touchbacks in high school football, but 11-minute quarters, so 10:52. Let's get it going.
So Jack Kelly will be at the helm for the Titans.
Number 12, Jack Kelly.
He's in the pistol. He's got 2 backs back there with him. And the pitch is to the right. They're going to double pass. They bid on the fake. Open. It's number 18, Tommy Brooks, down the right sideline. They pitched it to the right. The halfback pass option worked like a charm for Pembroke. That's exactly how they wanted to start the season and exactly how Westwood did not want to start.
You know, it's one of those plays that, you know, they've been sitting on all summer. And they're thinking, how are we going to start the season? We're going to catch somebody off guard. And I guarantee it's probably not going to bite Westwood again, but certainly not the way you want to start it out.
And that was, unfortunately, that was the senior Jake Antonucci, who was the cornerback who was playing run first, unfortunately. So 1st and 10 at the 28. High snap. The give is off the left tackle. He's going to go for about 9 yards. That's Nick Lane again.
Lane, the ball carrier.
Nice bounce to the outside where he saw some daylight.
I think we're seeing right out of the chute that Nick Lane's going to be the guy they got a key on. He's the one to return the kick, got a nice burst. Gets a nice kick out to the left side there too.
Yeah, he's playing the tailback position, so he's their featured back, it looks like.
There's a gain of about 10 on the play, just short of the line to gain.
Second and short.
At the Westwood 18.
Kelly gives it, bounces up to the right side. He's met with a host of green jerseys. And it looks like they're going to give him yardage for the first down. No, perhaps not. One referee was seeming to be signaling it was good, but it's going to stay 3rd down.
There is no gain on the play, 3rd and inches.
It's good pursuit by the Wolverines defense.
Yeah, Brian Murray, the guy who really led the charge there on that first play. I liked seeing that. First chance inside the red zone to show your defense. Going to have a couple chances here to try to stuff and run and see what you can do.
Referees conferring. In high school, well, we saw at the Patriots game, 3rd and short, or 4th and short, you still may go for it. But in high school, you're almost always in 4 down territory. They are going to measure just to make sure.
You can only imagine the nerves, you know. First game of the year. A lot of guys in a position they've never been in before. They're in a leadership spot. It's their chance to sort of step up here and show what they can do. I remember being in high school and just dreaming about what it would be like when you became an upperclassman. You know, you get that opportunity to be a leader on the field, and here you go, first drive of the year.
Yeah, this is This is where the dreams are meeting with reality, though. So they got to step up. Come up with a stop here. Would be nice. Westwood runs a 4-4 defense. The give is up the middle again. Finds a seam, breaks a tackle, and he's going in for the score. That's Nick Lane again.
Into the end zone, touchdown, Pembroke.
Good blocking on the left side. They ran a couple of plays on the left side there. Obviously, they were able to open the hole over the tackle.
Rushing touchdown.
18 yards to the house, just a few minutes in, just 2 minutes and 1 second into the game. Pembroke already up 6-0.
Bringing in the field goal unit. Going for the point after attempt. Looks like the kicker is Kyle Watts, a senior, one of the captains.
Number 17, Steve Amiot holding.
Ball is down. Ball is blocked by Brian Murray. Recovered by Jake Pfaff. He's going down the sideline.
Returned by the Wolverines.
He's going to be met there. Maybe that'll stir the team up a little bit.
Great return.
Brian Murray with a nice block.
Pembroke territory at the 33-yard line.
And of course, if you're not familiar with the rule, the defense can try to return that ball, bring it back the other way, and if he gets into the end zone, that would have been 2 points for Westwood, which would have made the score 6-2. It makes you think, and maybe when you go home, you can talk to your son, tell him keep that ball alive, because you got nothing to lose by keeping it alive. Just keep lateraling it and see if you can get into the end zone.
It's like the Cal Stanford play, if you want it to be.
Well, there you go. That's got to be a little rush for you. You got that out of your system.
Nice.
Call your son's first big play.
It was kind of neat to see him come up with that, I got to admit.
Good penetration, though. Good play. You mentioned it. Maybe it's just something to get the team sparked.
Came up limping a little bit. He's met with the trainer over here on the sideline. See what that's about. So Westwood looking to light a fire of their own on offense. We're going to have Antonucci and can't quite make out who that other deep returner is.
For Pembroke, Watts is in to kick off.
They want to get the ball into Jake Antonucci's hands.
Correction, number 15, Will Healy to kick for Pembroke.
So Will Healy looks like he's got the stronger leg.
And Colin Fay.
They'll use him for kickoff duties, hoping to get the ball deep.
Colin Fay back there with Jake Antonucci.
Thank you. The kick is short, and they're going to let it bounce. Not a wise play. One of those up backs should have been getting that ball. They don't let that ball bounce there at the 25-yard line. It's down at the 23 or 24-yard line. Colin Fay was the Wolverine to jump on that. So Westwood will take offense for the first time this year, trying to equal Pembroke's output. Reed Wilson at the helm. Let's see how they can do.
Watching a few games last year, it was nice to see the poise that Wilson has, because the first thing you notice when you see Reed is that he's got size. He can see over the line. He can see down the field. He's obviously got an arm, and that's an arm that gained some confidence last year as well. He had a lot of weapons last year. It's going to be a matter of who are going to be his weapons this year. But you got to feel confident entering a season with a quarterback who's played as much as he has, with the vision and the experience that he brings to his senior season.
Westwood plays a spread offense. Reed is in the pistol. One back with him. Three spread wide, one left. Looking left, and Antonucci was the intended target. Ball was tipped at the line, incomplete.
Antonucci, incomplete.
So that'll set up a 2nd and 10.
2nd and 10.
From the 24. Colin Fay is the lone setback, along with Reed. Brian Murray and Jake Antonucci are really the only two returning receivers from last year's team. So a lot of newcomers. Wilson looking right, going deep. He's got Murray. Threw it high.
Wilson's pass.
And I think Murray's got to keep running. That's something that will evolve over the course of the season, but it was there.
It was there.
And it's probably going to be there again. So just keep moving. and the ball would come your way.
Westwood not wanting to go 3 and out, would love to move the chains on this attempt. Fay in the backfield with Wilson. Murray is split wide left. 3 receivers split wide right. They blitzing up the middle. Wilson, no time. Blitz not picked up. Wilson goes down for a loss of about
Down by number 10, Nathan
5.
Beath.
And that's Nathan Beath. In talking to the Pembroke people, they said one word described him, beast. He's the guy that you got to get a man on. And he's going to be somebody as the game evolves that you're going to want to keep an eye on. He's 6'1", 210-pound junior. A lot of their leaders, from what they told me, are juniors. So this is a team that's up and coming, and so far getting out to the better start.
Despite their 3-8 record, they did make the playoffs last year, where they fell in the first round to one of the stronger teams in the state, Duxbury. McQuarrie is doing the kicking duties as punter and kicker.
Back deep for Pembroke.
Kicks it to the right side, gets a Westwood bounce all the way down near the 30-yard line, where it's down there at the 31.
Down at the Pembroke 31-yard line.
Where Westwood will try to defend their goal line a little bit better this time.
Pretty good kick. I think 44 yards when it's all said and done.
That is very good numbers for high school football. Bounce was extremely favorable, but it was a good kick nonetheless.
Take them as they come.
Yeah.
All right, so now the D's got to step up. 7:51 left in the first quarter. Second chance for Pembroke to get the ball here. Second chance for the Westwood defense to step up and show them what they're made of. They obviously got size in the defensive front. These guys got to start asserting themselves.
Kelly pitches left side. Stopped there by the defensive line. Looks like
Lane, the ball carrier.
Connor Powers.
Yep, that was Connor Powers, got through there. That's exactly what they needed to do. You know, set the tone on that first play. I think Pembroke set the tone on the first play of the previous drive, so maybe the Wolverines here making that big play on first down will sort of set the tone for this drive. Put them in a position where they got to throw. You know, now you're facing 2nd and 12. That's not a comfortable position for any team. I would guess that they're probably going to try to throw the ball here, so let's bring the heat on the quarterback and see if the guys can cover the receivers on the edge.
They split out receivers, 2 to the right, 1 to the left. Give up the middle. Powers was back there with him, slowed him up. Actually, that might have been Matthew Mason.
Yep. So here you go. Now you got a 3rd and 12. They got to throw here. I'm a little bit surprised that they threw the ball, that they ran the ball there on 2nd and 12. At least try to pick up something. But the defense so far, at least up front, perfect execution through these first 2 plays of this drive.
Colin Best, the senior lineman, comes out. He is a run-stopping machine. But in this obvious passing down, they'll substitute somebody out with a little more quickness to get after the quarterback from the line. They're playing a slot right, a little movement. The give is draw play up the middle, and it's stopped there by the entire defensive line for Westwood.
There, that was Mason again, and said it when the drive started. That's exactly what you needed here. You needed it's clear that Westwood's got size, so it's just a matter of those guys figuring out a way to get the penetration, get through the offensive line, and start making some plays. That's got to be a huge boost. You can see as they run off the field how excited they are. Setting up a 4th and 12. Maybe you get a nice rush here on the punt, change the field position, and see what you can do.
16.
A lot of green shirts came onto the field, and a lot came off, and this is where in high school the math might not work. Very low punt. Good bounce for the Titans. It's going all the way down inside the 30-yard line. It was not a good kick, but it was an excellent roll. So Wilson and company will set up at the 28, trying to erase the 3 and out that they had last time. 5:38 left to go, 6-0 our score. Pembroke in the lead with an opening series touchdown.
1st and 10 Wolverines.
I happened to be at the Patriots game last night and was noting how the game drags on when there's so many TV timeouts, but we have the luxury of going right back to the action.
That's right. Makes it tough to keep up with the stats, though. It'd be nice to have a statistician up here who was really good at keeping it all straight. But here you go. Wilson once again out of the gun. See what he can do.
2 to his right, 2 receivers to his left. They're coming to Antonucci. Gets outside, Nice gain of about 7 yards. Should set up about 2nd and 3.
Get him in space. That's what you got to do. You got to figure out a way to get 22 in space. If you can get him out there where he's in a one-on-one situation, he can start making some moves. That's his strength. Get him in a situation where he can make people miss.
That's exactly what he does. He makes people miss. And Pembroke knows that. They're playing a cushion defense off of him. They're not playing a bump and run. Up the middle. The give is to Colin Fay, and he's going to be stopped short, it looks like. See where they mark that. He's going to be close, but I think just short. Oh, no. Looks like they're moving the chains. Yes, they are. First down for the Wolverines this season.
Tackled after a gain of 2. It is enough for a Westwood first down. 1st and 10 Wolverines at their own 37-yard line.
You'll see Coach Pindell on the sideline wearing, well, they're all wearing white hats, so that doesn't help, but he will yell out the play. All the players have the wristbands with the plays written on it, so they'll look down to their wrist. Give us up the middle again to Fay. He's stopped after a short gain.
You know, Chris, you can see the different approach to this series. They came out wanting to throw the ball. They went back 3 times, tried to throw the ball.
Gain of 1 on the play,
weren't able to do that, and the defense had to go right back on the field. And the defense did great, but one of the things you always want to try to do is give your defense some time on the sideline so that they can stay fresh. So this, if nothing else, they're moving the ball. They're keeping the clock moving as well. It's a passing situation here, 2nd and 9, but so far through 3 plays of this drive, I'm pleased with what I see.
Same set, two receivers right, 2 receivers left, Fay in the backfield. Looks like they might be coming with some heat. Going deep to Antonucci down the sideline, just out of the reach. Might have had a half a step on him.
Again, but what do you see? On both of those opportunities they've had to go long, the play's there. So you know that if they can just get the timing down again as this game evolves, the play's probably going to be there again.
Defended by Jeremy Moylan. 3rd down.
Substitutes coming in. That's Mark James split wide left. Fay in the backfield. 3 receivers split wide right. Difficult to make out from our vantage point, but I can almost guarantee you one of them is Jake Antonucci. Rolling right goes Wilson. He stops. Underthrows intended receiver, who was Jake Antonucci.
Yeah, Reed's going to look at that one and say he wants it back. He was open, had the opportunity to get the first down there, just short-armed it a little bit.
I think he may have hurried the throw a little bit.
Yeah, you're not going to see that a lot from him. And you can tell as he walks back to the sideline, he's just shaking his head a little bit, knowing that he probably had it.
McQuarrie is in to punt.
McQuarrie is in for his 2nd punt of the evening. We had a whistle stopping play. Looks like Pembroke was caught in a personnel issue, so they called a timeout, I believe. One of the 5 that they get for each half.
They're your TV timeouts, Chris, right there.
Yeah. Boy, when a high school team gets 10 timeouts per game, it's kind of hard to say bad clock management.
At least it was short.
Yeah, it was the 18-second variety. McQuarrie, nice booming punt. Gets the end over, gets it to turn over. He fair catches the ball at the 10-yard line. Excellent spiral punt. Something else you don't see all that often in high school. He is being sought after, hearing rumors of Ivy League schools interested in he and his leg coming to play for him next year for them.
And so far, player of the game for Westwood. I mean, he's turned the field both times. If you look at it from a broader perspective of how they've traded possessions, the ball's clearly moving back towards the Pembroke end zone, so that's what you want to accomplish here. And if the defense can get some penetration like they did on the last series, you're looking in pretty good shape. You could even be in a scoring situation here if you get a push on 1st and 2nd down.
Well, Pembroke did a nice job opening up some holes for Leyden on their first drive. Their 2nd drive, they were stopped for a 3 and out. So Westwood would like to replicate that latest series. The give is up the middle again. He's got a hole. We're going to have a flag in the vicinity of holding. Let's see what the call is. It was a good gain. And we do have a hold against Pembroke.
Tackle was made by Matthew Berluti.
So it's going to come back. It's going to be a half the distance of the goal, I believe. Should set him up around the 5 or 6 yard line. Berluti in on the tackle.
Pembroke, a holding penalty.
Matt Berluti, a senior, he is an inside linebacker.
And he's clearly got a cheering section right in front of us. His name got called by Jay Risha over the PA, and heard the group sitting right in front of us go a little crazy.
And Matt is number 11. Outside linebackers are Murray and Pfaff. And I believe the other inside linebacker might be Hispelink. And we're going to have another flag. We got a false start, some movement on the line, I think.
Penalty against Pembroke. False start.
When you got a team like Pembroke, who's building, right? 3rd year of the program. We talked about that, Brian King, the head coach. These are the types of mistakes that you're going to see them make. What you have to do now, if you're Westwood, you got a little more experience, is you got to capitalize on these mistakes. They have pressure on them right now. They're backed up against their own end zone. Now, what kind of play are you going to make?
Yeah, in high school football, you really just have to find out what your strength is and run with it. So far, their strength has, other than the one long halfback option pass, their strength has been laying up the middle. And it's difficult. You're down in this area. You get a penalty in the end zone. It's 2 points. And there we go, laying up the middle. He's just trying to get some space. He stopped there around the 8 or 9 yard line by Westwood. So it's going to be a gain of about 5, setting up about 2nd and 11. So we got a little bit of the yardage back from the penalty.
It's good to see the Den again, Chris. I miss this crew. Gotta give them a reason to cheer now, though, but it's one of the best cheering sections in our region. These guys get fired up, and they're still filing in from the parking lot. Late arriving tonight, but they're filling in the stands.
It is a whiteout. That is the theme for tonight's Den. Under center, takes a snap, fumbled.
And there you go.
And Dylan Mahoney for Westwood is signaling Westwood, but let's see what the official call is. And it's going to say the Titans got it back, but that's going to cost them a down. So it's going to set up 3rd and about 11, maybe a loss of a half a yard there.
Center quarterback exchange.
Possession kept by Pembroke. A loss of 1 on the play. 3rd down, 13.
3rd and 13. They got to get to the 21 yard line to move the sticks. And that is Dom Hull, who is the other inside linebacker next to Matt Berluti. Dom is a junior, also plays tight end. So they're going under center, changing the look a little bit right now. They're going to pitch it left.
Another fumble.
For Lane, we got a fumble. Recovery. Recovery Westwood.
There you go. Just what you were looking for. You get these guys pinned up against their own end zone, and it's recovered by 56. That's Alex
Solius.
Nice. Great job, Alex. Ball bounced right to him. Not always easy to get on top of, but he was able to do it. He fell right to the ground. So now Westwood inside the 10-yard line with an opportunity to strike, tie up this game, and take a lead with an extra point.
Westwood has 3 starting sophomores on defense. Mahoney, Pfaff, and Solius, who's up on the line, gets a lot of action on both sides of the ball on the line. So they really want to cash in here. They got at least three, maybe 4 plays, depending on how they go. 1st and goal from the 7 for the Wolverines. Little wrinkle look here. Going with the fist package in the backfield. Antonucci deep, barking the signals. He's running right side, cutting inside. Stopped after a nice gain of about 4 yards.
On the direct snap, ball carrier.
See where they mark that spot. Down at about the 2-yard line, so we got about 5.
Tough to defend. They got Wilson on the sideline here. Looks like they're going to stick with it, too.
This is their short yardage package. They call it the fist. It's pretty much a full house backfield, almost like an inverted wishbone, or power I. But it's a direct snap to the tailback, and he follows. There's sometimes some misdirection off of it, but it usually goes where you think it's going to go. Antonucci calling the signals again. He's coming left side. Lowers his head. Barrels into the end zone. Yes! First score of the year for the Wolverines. 2 yards for Jake Antonucci. Ties up the game with 42 seconds left in the first. 6-6.
2-yard touchdown run.
McCory will come out, trying to take the lead for the Wolverines. Attempting his first extra point of the season. Westwood has not had a kicker for some time that they relied on. They've gone for 2 the last 4 or 5 years for the most part.
McCory is in for the extra point try.
Miles Heaspelink did a little bit last year. Here's the snap, and hold us down. The kick is good. Westwood takes the lead, 7-6.
All right, well, they got the bugs out. You know, since that first play, really, since the first drive, that ended up with Pembroke taking a 6-0 lead, the defense has been able to step it up. 2 solidly executed drives on the defensive front. The last one resulting in 2 balls hitting the ground. And then when you get the ball inside the 10-yard line, you take advantage on that touchdown run. There was a clear push, not just from the offensive line in front of Antonucci on the left side, but also the 2 running backs, as you described. You set up in kind of that offset wishbone. It's hard not to get 2 yards when you got 5, 6, 7 guys in front of you.
Yeah, there's no disguise. They're setting it up, saying, we're coming at you. Try to stop us.
Fans, get those 50-50 raffle tickets.
So McCory getting ready to put his toe into another kickoff.
Draws closer to being complete.
Last time got it down to about the 10-yard line.
Purchased by halftime.
Had a pretty good run back to about the 26 by Nick Lane
Westwood Boosters, thanks you for your support.
to start the game. And of course, that first play right after the kickoff, the Titans came out with that halfback option pass that was good for a lot of yards.
McQuarrie is in to kickoff.
Deep kick.
Look at that
back
kick.
near the goal line. Sometimes you can outkick your coverage here. Returner is met there by Patrick Wade, senior.
Listen, McCory's looked great. That kick went all the way down. His toe was just outside the end line. So
That's
end zone
60
is
yards in the air.
That's pretty impressive.
I can see why some colleges are interested in him.
Number 10, Kevin McDonald.
So the defense
First and 10,
trying to stop the Titans again,
21-yard
squelch
line.
any type of momentum they may have had. And they've done it the last 2 possessions. They're coming around, jet sweep right, cut up field. Looks like that was Luke Carroll carrying the ball.
Luke Carroll, the ball carrier.
Came in motion. Kelly handed the ball off to him. It was a jet sweep right.
It was Antonucci and Huff.
Here's a gain of 6 on the play. 2nd and 4.
Got him on an island there on that play. You know, they run the jet coming your way, and that's where you go back to your basic drills of the summer where it's one-on-one, and those guys did a pretty good job of shutting it down.
So that winds the clock down on the first quarter. 7-6 our score. Westwood in the lead. We mentioned that Brad Pindell is coming back home. He is a Westwood native, a Westwood resident, a Westwood police officer, and it seems a little odd. He's been a coach at Dover Sherborne for 6 years. So
clearly thrilled to be here.
He is very excited to be back here wearing the green and white of the Wolverines. And we'd like to say goodbye to Coach Ed Manti, who left after a very successful 6 years, making the playoffs in 5 of them, and 3 TVL large titles for Mr. Manti, Coach Manti. He leaves to go to not greener pastures, just larger ones. He goes to Division I Framingham, one of 24 Division I schools in the state, and he was ready for a new personal challenge, or professional challenge, so he decided to take that. We do have a new division alignment for high school football in Massachusetts. Westwood was in Division 2A last year. For some reason, they decided to introduce for a couple of years 1A, 2, 2A, 3, and instead of calling them what they were. I don't know why, but now it's been realigned, and now they're calling them what they are. So Westwood stays in, it could have been called last year 2A. It's Division 4, and they're along with Hopkinton as the only TVL teams in Division 4. Everyone else is in Division 5 or lower. So we're starting the second quarter, second and about 5 from the 27-yard line. Kelly from the pistol. Takes a snap. He's looking left. He's got an out. And that's 30, Luke Carroll. He ran the jet sweep before. And it looks like we got Dylan Mahoney down for the Wolverines. He was in on the coverage.
Tackle made by Dylan Mahoney.
When you have the size like Westwood has up front, one thing I noticed on that play, get the hands up. You know, that ball's coming out pretty low. They're not trying to throw it too far down the field. So even if you can't get to the quarterback, just get the hands up and you might be able to tip it and disrupt the play.
Yeah, exactly. And I know coaches are working on that. It's first game of the year. Sometimes those coaching lessons are forgotten in the heat of the moment. Dylan is up on his feet, making his way to the sideline. Looks like Colin Fay is going to be coming in for Dylan. Dylan playing that safety position. We have Drew Durker as the right cornerback, Jake Antonucci as the left. They said they play 4-4, 4 on the line, 4 linebackers, and then 3 defensive backs, or 2 defensive backs and 1 safety. 1st and 10 for the Titans. Give us up the middle again. Good push there by the offensive line for the Titans. He's going to be stopped after a gain of about 9.
And there's the beast, Nathan Beath. You know what you're going to get from him. We've seen it a couple of times today. He's just a wrecking ball. He's going to try to run over people every time he gets the ball. He had pretty good success there, setting up 2nd and short. Nice start to this drive for Pembroke.
Shamar Hall coming in for Brian Murray. At the strong side outside linebacker position. Second and 1 for Pembroke at the 47. Westwood needs to stop. And they do. Gain of about a half a yard. Maybe it's going to be shy of a first down, so it's going to set up 3rd and short.
That's a great push, and it comes off the edge from Shamar Hall. He came in off the right edge, I believe. That's where a replay would help. And he got himself in the backfield. And then if he could just hold him up, the push of the big guys who are playing on the defensive line, it's going to catch up in just a matter of seconds. So it's a matter of making that first point of contact and tying up the running back. Did a great job there. So 3rd and inches from the 47.
Nope. And
they're giving it to him.
Give it to him without the benefit of a
it is ruled enough for the first down.
Of a yardage check, but
coaches don't agree.
Coaches do not agree with that call.
Without even a measurement either.
Yeah.
It is 1st and 10, Pembroke at their own 48.
Dylan Mahoney in the golf cart. Looks like he's going to be taken away by Paul Lilla, the trainer. We had a blitz. Jake Pfaff on the outside. Left his feet. Tried to block the pass. Got to keep his feet and keep him outside contained.
Brought a cell phone. This is our first phone of the year. This is an LG. It was found on the sidewalk, apparently, out near the stadium entrance. If you have lost your LG cell phone,
2nd and 10
shattered, unfortunately,
for the Titans. 7-6 our score. 8:43 left to go until halftime.
Phone, please come see me.
This is always one of my most entertaining portions of coming to a Westwood game. When somebody loses their phone, Jay Risha over the PA usually comes up with something pretty funny to make somebody come up to the press box and try to retrieve it. It's the one thing my daughters remembered about coming to a game last year.
2nd and 10. They're tossing right. Nobody there to contest the run. We're going to have a flag coming from deep, and the backfield judge. Let's see what this call is.
There is a flag.
We got a defensive holding. Hard to get a defensive holding on a pitch sweep, right? But
that's tough. Unless he grabbed him up high, clearly grabbed the jersey and down.
Yeah.
It's a tough call at this point.
Trying to shed a blocker sometimes you get a little.
No, he pointed the wrong way. All right, it is on the offense. It was puzzling to say the least when you see him pointing towards Westwood on a defensive hold on that play. So a huge switch. You know, that ball was down at maybe the 44 or 43 yard line. They're looking at a 3rd down and 1 instead. Now they got themselves backed
second
up.
And about 20.
Second and 20. And that could be a pivotal point of the second quarter.
Ball is on the 39-yard line.
2nd down and 19.
Changes the bag of tricks you reach into here for Pembroke. They have a slot right, slot left. Slot left comes in motion. They fake to him. They're coming from the weak side and setting up a screen left. Gets hit just as he releases the pass.
Same 2 guys again. It's Shamar Hall and Connor Powers right in the grill of the quarterback. It's going to be tough to execute any play if you've got those 2 guys in your face.
3rd down, 19.
Though if that pass was completed, he had a lot of room ahead of him. They were doing a throwback to the left side as they faked the run right. So Westwood playing almost in a little bit of a prevent defense. Their cornerbacks are off the ball by about 15 yards. Playing very soft coverage. He faked the give, he drops the ball. He's wrapped up. He's going to lose more yardage on the play. That's going to set up a 4th and what I would call 4th and ridiculous.
What do you pull out of your bag of tricks here? Hey, you know, when I used to cover the Lions, Mike Martz was the offensive coordinator. And one of the funniest things I ever heard from John Kitna, who was the quarterback at the time, during one of his interview sessions, he said, "You're going to think this is crazy, but Mike Martz has in his bag of tricks a play for 4th and 36. So I don't know if Pembroke's got that play in their arsenal, but if they did, they'd pull it out now because they're looking at 4th and 27.
So Westwood was playing a little bit of helter-skelter there with their own personnel, and they decided to use one of their 5 timeouts. Their first one, I believe, taken. 7:31 left. It's a quick variety. They just wanted to make sure that they weren't caught with too many men on the field. Antonucci back to receive the kick. And late onto the field comes Pembroke's punter. A little bit of an end-over-end kick. Takes a Pembroke bounce. Antonucci lets it go all the way down to the 20-yard line.
That's Nathan Beath.
Nathan Beath, the kicker, the punter, that is. So he put a good foot into that one. Switch the field around. Westwood will take over on offense at their own 20.
Like most games, this has already begun to evolve into who's going to win the battle up front. And I think as we sit here with 7:18 to go in the second quarter, the answer to that question right now is Westwood. They've got some size, and here's where you hope that your conditioning comes into play. And as the game continues to evolve, your size and your conditioning takes over a game.
Yeah, but for that first series, we've seen Pembroke do nothing but move it back, ultimately in their possessions. And we got another timeout. So one of the changes in this year TVL, we have Dedham is joining. They've left the Bay State League and they're joining the TVL Small. So that brings the total number of teams in the TVL to 11. We have 6 playing in the TVL Small and 5 in the large. The large teams being Hopkinton, Westwood, Medfield, Norton, and Holliston. Medfield, Norton, and Holliston are playing in the Division 4 league for the playoffs, and Westwood and Hopkinton are in Division. Sorry, they're the first teams I mentioned were in Division 5. Westwood and Hopkinton are in 4. Rounding out the TVL Small, we have Medway, Ashland, Dedham, Dover, all playing in Division 6. Bellingham is in Division 5, and Millis is no longer working with Hopedale. They've dropped down to Division 8 this year. Millis won the state championship last year alongside Hopedale. So here we go. Westwood would love to capitalize on another strong series. Going deep, looking for Antonucci. overthrows him again.
Just a matter of time. It's going to be there, and I think once those guys get it, and it's good to see him try it again because they know it's going to be there.
Yeah, he's beating him constantly, not by a lot, but by enough. If Reed could drop it in there, and then Jake will take it from there. It's almost like Reed has to wait a quarter of a second longer to release that ball, same ball, and that ball is caught. He has the time. There's no hurry to throw it. So far, he has not been really pressured all that much. We got 2 men in the backfield with Wilson in the pistol. 2 split wide, 1 left. The give is up the middle. Off the left side. Shamar Hall on the carry.
We've seen him make plays defensively, but that's the first time we've seen him really get involved in the offensive scheme. Had a good time to do it, too, because Antonucci just streaked down the field on the previous play, so give him a chance to get a blow, get Hall in the backfield and see what he can do here. Give him an opportunity.
Down after a gain of 2. 3rd down and 8.
Looking for the play call from Coach Pindell on the sideline. Wilson sauntering back to the line of scrimmage. Third and about 9. Wilson has his receivers split out, 2 left, 2 right. Hall in the backfield. Looking left, lays it up there. Another overthrown pass. It's like intended for Kevin McDonald.
Intended for McDonald, incomplete.
It's just not there yet. Slow start. You know he's got the skill set. You know he can get it done. You can just see him walking off the field frustrated with himself. He's off by just a matter of feet. I mean, that wasn't one of his better throws, but some of the other throws have just been inches away. So he shouldn't lose his confidence. He's obviously capable of doing the job. He's just got to get the butterflies out of his system, and I'd maybe call a couple plays where he's only throwing it, 5 yards down the field, get him loose.
Completed passes always help. Another spiral punt. It's going to take a Pembroke bounce. It goes out of bounds about the 30, 31-yard line.
The punt goes out of bounds at the 31-yard line. 1st and 10 for Pembroke.
Dylan Mahoney back. Rode the golf cart back from the locker room to the sideline. He just bounced off. It looks like he's ready to go. Might have gotten taped up or something like that back in the locker room, but didn't seem when he was walking down there that he was overly injured, but he does have the helmet off.
Yeah, the helmet
we'll
is
keep our eyes
on the bench.
on just how long that helmet stays on the bench. The rest of his teammates checking in to see what's up.
Dylan plays a lot both ways, as a slot receiver and as a safety. So losing him, obviously you're losing somebody that contributes.
We'll keep you updated. You mentioned that Dedham has joined this league. Every week we do a high school game day game of the week at my other job, Boston 25, and the Dedham Medfield game actually won our game of the week this week. The Medfield people, I think, were voting like crazy. I'm going to have the Westwood Holliston game.
It's in 2
up
weeks.
For voting in 2 weeks. That's on Westwood Day. That's always an exciting night. It gets the weekend started. It ends with fireworks and all the rest of that. And I know last year we were here when Westwood played Hopkinton. Great effort voting.
The penalty was against Westwood.
Voting last year. And so hopefully we'll see a lot of votes again before that game on the 22nd.
46.
1st and 10 for the Titans. Pitch left. He's got room. Murray up, forces him inside. He gets tripped up by his own man there right around midfield.
You mentioned it. Brian Murray stepping up and changed that play. That could have been a play that was another 6 or 7 yards because there was some space. There was some open field for Leyden to run in. But Murray cut him off. He made him turn inside, and that gave the rest of the Wolverine defense a chance to come in and make the stop.
Well, as an outside linebacker, that is your first and foremost priority, is to contain the outside. Make him run back inside where your help is supposed to be. And that's what happened there. On that particular play, the help came from Lane's own teammate, who he tripped over to end the play. That'll bring up 2nd and about 7, maybe a long 6. Kelly, back to pass, looking right. Ball is knocked down.
And there are the hands. What we were just
Connor
talking
Powers.
about.
Yep.
During the last drive, defensive line, getting your hands up if you can't get to the quarterback. And Connor Powers has had a great first half. The push has been there throughout all of these drives that they've been trying to defend, and it comes to fruition there, setting up a 3rd and 7.
Westwood would love a stop here. 5 minutes left to go in the second. Westwood with a 1-point lead, 7-6.
They're down and 7 just across the 49-yard line.
We got receivers split. One to the right, slot to the left, flanker to the left. Come motion right, we're going to have a whistle blown.
There is no
That's
play.
going to be a timeout taken by Pembroke.
Timeout was taken before the snap.
Not sure if they were in danger of the play clock or if they just didn't like what they saw. The timeout seemed to come from the sideline.
Seemed to come late, too.
Yeah.
The kid was running with the ball by the time the referee blew the whistle.
So they're going to talk things over. We mentioned Dedham is new to TVL. Next year, Norwood School Committee voted 3-2 to also ask for an invitation from the TVL to leave the Bay State League and join the TVL League. Norwood plays in the Bay State League, and they would be in the same division. They are playing in the same division, Division 4, as Westwood. So that would make it next year, if the TVL does invite and they accept the invitation, that would make it 6 TVL large teams and 6 TVL small teams.
And it's great because you mentioned the two surrounding communities. To have Dedham in this league makes sense. To have Norwood in this league makes sense. There's a lot of times where they're making the trip west to play the teams like Hopkinton and Millis and Medfield, which are also very close. It's not like you're making really long road trips, but to welcome those surrounding communities into the league, I think would be good for the rivalries over the long haul.
And ironically, although they're not in the TVL yet, Westwood plays Norwood next Saturday. So it's a non-conference, a non-league opponent, and they'll get their first look of a TVL team with a recent Norwood team. So we're back from the timeout, 3rd and 7. Ball on the 49. Slot man right. Wide receiver right. Slot man comes in motion. They fake to give him. They give it up the middle of the lane. He's met there, but not after a gain of about 4. That's going to set up about 4th and 3.
Tackled by number 74, James Dawson.
Let's see what they dial up here for the Titans.
I'm happy to report the lost phone has been claimed. That's why you haven't heard from me for the last couple of seconds. I was negotiating the transaction.
4th down and 3.
They're going to be setting up for the punt here, and that's a high snap. Fielded cleanly. End over end punt.
Beef with the punt.
Beef with the punt. It's going to take a kick. Antonucci flirting with disaster a little more than he needs to there. Ball's down at the 10.
Westwood takes over.
Westwood with a lot of field to cover. They got 4 minutes, 6 seconds till halftime. So they have plenty of time.
I think that was Faye back there with that kick, and you could hear the coaches to our left just yelling at him to get away from the ball, because that's the disaster you would never want to see happen, to have a random bounce, have it come off your leg, and all of a sudden, right before halftime, Pembroke has an opportunity to have a short field and get the ball in the end zone.
Yeah, if you're not going to field it, just get away.
You have just a few minutes left to get those 50-50 raffle tickets before halftime. Get those 50-50 raffle tickets. We're going to have a big winner. That drawing is going to take place at halftime.
So Westwood, I believe, has used 2 of their 5 timeouts, so that should leave them, obviously, with 3. 4 minutes, just over 4 minutes left to go till half.
Let's see if they shorten up the attack here. No, you got 3 to the left, 1 to the right. Let's see if we can get Wilson some short completions.
Yeah, they're bundled up to the right. The give is up the middle to Hall, who bounces to his right. Nice run by Shamar Hall. Good for about 12 and a first.
Described it perfectly. It wasn't designed to go that way. It was designed to go up the middle, and he saw some space to his right. You talked about the fact that there was one of the Antonucci kids last year who reminded you of Barry Sanders. That was a Barry Sanders-esque kind of move where you don't see daylight in front of you, you see something to your right, and you go for it.
First down.
It's good to be young and have peripheral vision like that.
What, you're saying you've lost your peripheral vision, Chris?
No, I've lost the young. I could see the hole. I couldn't get to the hole. Wilson calling off the signal. Same formation. The give is to Hall up the middle, and he bounces right, but this time he's brought down. So clock continues to run, 3:50.
Ball carrier.
May look to go to the air, look for some clock management here.
Tackled by Brian Burns.
Pendel sending in the play.
No gain on the play, 2nd and 10.
Well, we have a penalty flag just thrown. We have a personal foul against Westwood. Not sure what happened there.
Yeah, well,
looks like it's going to involve somebody in their mouth.
Yeah, it seems though somebody was. I saw him after the play engaging with one of the Pembroke players, and I thought to myself, not the time of the game you want to get yourself involved in stuff like that. And then clearly he must have been complaining to the referee about whatever transpired on the field, and he said something that the ref didn't want to hear. So with 3:30 left in the quarter, in the half, not the type of penalty you want to keep.
No, and not what you're hoping to see in the first game of the season from your senior captain.
Penalty against Westwood.
Pendel talking with the head referee there about the infraction.
Yard line, 2nd and 22.
Sets up a 2nd and 22. Well, let's see what the coaching staff has issued for this scenario. This is where you might see a screen, maybe a bubble screen or a screen to the lone setback.
Oh boy.
And we have a broken play. He's just going to throw it out of bounds.
Wilson's pass incomplete.
Looked like he wanted to hand the ball off to, I believe, to Mark James. He was the lone setback there. And he wanted nothing to do with it.
You know, good news, no damage done. Bad news, the clock stopped. So now you got 3 minutes and 12 seconds to go. It's 3rd and 24. You got to throw here. If there's another incompletion, all of a sudden now you give Pembroke a chance with likely a short field after a punt to try to punch the ball in. So, I mean, in this scenario, it wouldn't surprise me even if they try to run the ball and run 35, 40 seconds off the clock.
That's a good point. The clock right now is on Pembroke's side, given the field position and the down and distance.
Here's where they pull out a 90-yard touchdown.
Wilson looks left, short pass left to Antonucci, gathers it in there, and he's met there quickly after a very short gain.
Well, clearly you got a punt, but the clock is running. He'll probably, oh, there you go. Pembroke's going to call a timeout. That's a smart play. When you got 700 timeouts, you might as well use them.
Can't take them with you. So Pembroke probably down to the last 2, maybe 3 timeouts. But that should be plenty with 3 minutes left to go until halftime. Not the offensive series Westwood was hoping for. As the ball started on their 10 and they got to the 12.
Yeah, and highlighted by the personal foul. You know, that's a bad place to take a penalty.
McQuarrie is in the punt.
McQuarrie back deep. Does not get a good kickoff. Oh, they're close to hitting a Pembroke player. It may have hit the Pembroke player. Let's see what the referees call. No signal yet by the refs that the Pembroke player touched the ball, and they're giving it to Pembroke. Replay would really be helpful on that.
All right, so those 2 players were engaged going downfield. They happened to be where I was watching. There was some incidental contact where they both went down. I thought the ball did hit the Pembroke player, so I thought that was going to be a Westwood recovery, but clearly the referee saw it the other way.
And I'm not certain there was a referee in the vicinity to actually see the ball as it landed. One of the Westwood coaches explaining their vantage point and their position to the referee there.
1st and 10, Pembroke.
No, it wasn't like there was one guy on the sideline saying that Westwood recovered that ball. I think everybody on this side who was wearing green saw the ball hit a white jersey. And again, no replay in high school football, which would be pretty useful right there. So they get the ball on the 42-yard line with 2:44 to play in the second.
Give us up the middle in a power eye situation to Lane.
Lane, the ball carrier.
Run is good for about 3 yards. Sets up 2nd and 7. Kelly back to the sideline, gets his play.
Pick up of 3 on the play.
Clock is running.
7.
They're bringing him in a double tight end situation with a power eye with Lane deep at tailback. And the pitch is to the right side. They push him back in. Don't let him get outside. He gained about 3 yards. That's what you want to do. Keep him contained. Don't let him get outside.
Same principle we talked about coming the other way in the last possession, and it worked again. Limit him to just 3 or 4 yards, so you got yourself set up here. 3rd and short, the clock's running. We're inside 150. Probably the play of the game right here so far. If they can figure out a way to stop him here and get the ball back, they'll go to the locker room with a lead most likely.
Clock is running, minute 38. Double tight end again. They faked up the middle, looking deep. He's back there covered by Antonucci, but he comes down with the pass. Unbelievable.
Kelly's pass is complete.
Touchdown, Pembroke.
Brian Burns.
Went to Brian Burns. You know, and Burns comes in at 6 feet tall, has a height advantage over Antonucci. They threw it up down the right stripe there. It was a jump ball, go get it. Jake tried to break it up, and Burns out-jumped him, caught the ball at about the, 8-yard line, and then just stumbled his way back into the end zone. So a backbreaker there as they get set to go into the locker room.
On the touchdown.
That is harsh. At 1:20 left in the second to give that long pass play up. He came from the tight end, right side tight end position. He held a block for a half second, then released downfield. And I'm surprised he got as far past Antonucci as he did. Pembroke will go for 2 here, trying to make the score 14-7 going into halftime. There's some movement there. We got the quarterback hopping backwards before the ball was snapped, and there might have been additional players moving as well.
Yeah, the slot receiver on the right side was moving before he snapped it, so now they're going to move it back 5, and you're on the 7-yard line. It makes you question. I mean, I guess they got to go for it again. I don't know how good their kicker is. They obviously missed the first extra point attempt, so that's not one of their strengths. So now they're going to try to do it again from the 7-yard line. And, you know, I don't want to shortchange Jake Antonucci. It's not like he's a small kid. He's 5 feet 10 inches, but you know, Burns got behind him on that touchdown, and he just had the better position. And Jake committed himself to try to go break up that pass, but Burns was able to get up just a little bit higher, and they were both kind of tangling with it for a couple of seconds, and it was Burns who came down with it.
So here we go. Going for 2 is Pembroke from the 7 after the penalty. Kelly looking left. He pumps. He's brought down there. A ball is fumbled. It's out. Westwood with it. And he's brought it down. And they're calling an incomplete pass.
Yeah, Colin Best with the push. Great job. And I don't know, it looked like a fumble to me, but even still, the quarterback did a great job getting back up and tackling Matt Maludi, who had come up with a loose ball. And again, same situation where they had an opportunity to maybe run it back and get 2 points.
Yeah, I'm not sure that they're aware of that part of the rule book, that if once the ball is turned over like that, they're not going to score the 2 points, so just keep lateraling it. So the kickoff is coming for Westwood. They're going to get the ball back with just over a minute. And I noticed that Dylan Mahoney is on the sideline now with shoulder pads off. It looks like he's probably done for the day. And he's got his left shoulder in ice, with an ice pack strapped to his shoulder. So probably not as severe as a separation, but still something that Paul Lilla is not comfortable with him getting back on the field. Good return here would certainly help the cause.
Yeah, just jump-started. You know, the offense hasn't shown the ability to break off big chunks at a time, so if you can give them a short field and just put them in a position where they can get away with 5-6 yard plays at a time, and that kick helps.
Short kick. Fielded cleanly and brought back to the 34-yard line. Looks like that was Miles Heesblink.
Yes, it was.
Kick is fielded by Miles Heesblink.
He's a junior.
So 1:16 to go, a 5-point game. Ball's on your own 34.
First and 10, Westwood from their own 36.
As we've talked about a couple of times, this is a situation where you'd like to get Antonucci in some space. And again, Wilson hasn't hit his stride yet. You know, you got to figure out a way to get him completing some short passes just to get some confidence. Would actually even like to see him get the ball 25, 30 yards up the field here to have the offense go into the locker room with some confidence.
Antonucci is split wide right. Looks like Drew Durker is slot right. Kevin McDonald is slot left. And Murray slot left. Slot.
Got a false start there on your left slot.
There is a flag on the ground. Indication of a false start against Westwood.
One of the things my coach in high school said was you'd rather be a half second late than a half second early. You're not penalized for being late off the line. It's not perfect, but at least you're not penalized.
There's a 5-yard walk-off. It is 1st and 15 for Westwood at their own 31.
So same formation. Receivers right, receivers left. High snap. Wilson rolling to his right. Looking for Antonucci, finds him. He's brought down, inbounds. After a gain of about 9 yards. It was 1st and 15. That should set up about a 2nd and 6.
And that's a good catch, a tough catch to make. You're going out towards the sideline. You're coming back towards the ball. I don't know if you ever try to catch a ball that way. Very difficult to do.
From the 38.
50 seconds left. Wilson gets the snap. Looking deep. Antonucci, intended receiver. They're playing prevent.
Incomplete.
2 white shirts there in coverage.
You know, that's the one time tonight that it wasn't there. It's the one time that they had it covered well, but it was probably the most on-target Reed was with the pass. So take some encouragement from that. But a good defensive play by Pembroke's defender out there was number 33, Jeremy Moylan.
With the down and distance, the clock, the field position, they're playing way off the ball. They're not going to let the long pass go easily here. Clock is stopped on that incomplete pass. 3rd and 8. That's what the Wolverines face. 3 receivers to Reed's left. He's looking that way. Ball is tipped by Antonucci. It's intercept. No, it's ball hit the turf. Oh,
no, he called the catch.
Then they call a catch.
Matt Smith comes up with the interception. So now Pembroke's going to have the ball. 34 seconds to go on the 49-yard line. And again, that goes back to the same type of catch I was just talking about. Antonucci was forced to come back towards the ball, which he's supposed to do to try to catch it. But the momentum of the pass bounced off of his fingertips. Really nice catch by Matt Smith there on the 49.
That's the tip drill that defensive backs work on, and starting on practice day number 2. So Westwood has to dial up another defensive stop here. I'd like to return to form from the first quarter. But they were very successful in some defensive stands.
iPhone, I think. It's in a green case that says Buddy Box.
Here we go, 49, ball's at the 49, 1st and 10. From the pistol, and it's a screen, wide receiver screen. Brian Murray missed the tackle there.
Kelly's pass complete.
And that brings it all the way down to the 23-yard line.
That's Tommy Brooks. Tommy Brooks is a junior wide receiver. His brother was injured last year and missed a lot of the season. His dad's on the coaching staff for Pembroke. A nice short pass, though. That's the kind of pass that you'd like to see Reed Wilson complete, right? Get the ball in space to one of your guys, get some confidence to your quarterback, and he breaks it open for a big gain. 26-yard gain on that play to get it down to the 22-yard line. So now 23 seconds to go, and they're down 5 with a chance to punch it in again.
Well, like you mentioned, we're not certain as to the accuracy or the strength of the leg. So a field goal may or may not be in play here for Pembroke. My guess is they're going to want a touchdown, obviously. That's why they're calling a timeout when they do. The clock did stop to reset the chains, as it does in high school and college football. But once they get that ball set, the clock starts running again. That's why Pembroke called that timeout. So Westwood trying to figure out how to stop. And in that particular play, how to stop would have simply meant a tackle. Brian Murray did have him after a short gain, but he lost his footing, went down to the turf, and the receiver just kept on running by him.
Because I can't log into it, that's probably a good thing. It is an iPhone, it is white, it's in a green and black Buddy Box case. Please check to see if you've lost your phone. We will keep the tally this year. We are up to 2.
Here we go. 1st and 10
in the first half
from the 23. Kelly, pump fake, looking to his right. Murray on the coverage. Ball is knocked out
That is a great defensive play right there by Brian Murray. Technically, he was beaten on the play. The play was open. The pass was in the receiver's hands, but Brian was able to rip it out of there. And when you're talking about the game situation, down 5 points with the clock ticking at the end of the second quarter, you can't ask for a bigger play from your defensive back.
So that brings up 2nd and 10 from the 23 with 15 seconds remaining till halftime. 12-7 our score. Pembroke in the lead, looking to add to that 5-point lead before they go into the half. We've got 2 receivers right, 2 left, and we're going to have a timeout taken, official timeout. Nope, by Westwood.
Westwood.
Pembroke's changed its philosophy a little bit here in the last couple of possessions. They've spread it out a bit more. They've tried to isolate their receivers on the defensive backs and see if they can open up some space for them down the sideline. It's worked a couple of times. That play by Murray really deserves commendation because he made a really big play. If he had not broken that up, you're talking about going into halftime down at least 12.
Yeah. Two receivers right, 2 left for Kelly. Looking left. He's going to the end zone. He's got a man. Played covered well there by Drew Durker, the senior.
That was intended for Jeremy Moylan, and when you look at Moylan, number 33, he's 6'3" tall. It's a tough guy to defend. He's going to stretch out his body. I thought the inside receiver there, who was Tommy Brooks, might have gotten away with a push on the defensive back. That's where I thought the ball was going initially, but it sailed a little bit wide, and that's where Moylan was in position to make the catch. But
it did seem odd to see 2 white shirts so close to each other.
Makes you think someone ran
the wrong route. I think that's what happened.
It will be 3rd down and 10.
3rd and 10, 9 seconds left. If they throw another pass like that, it may be the last play of the half. Playing a press coverage, up come the defensive backs. They don't want him free run off the line. Low snap, we're going to have a penalty.
There's no play. There's a flag on the field. No play. Officials signaling false start.
False start for Pembroke. So that'll back him up.
It'll be a 5-yard walk-off.
A second did tick off the clock.
From the Westwood 28.
I'm not certain as to why. A dead ball foul.
Quick trigger. Probably a little bit slower trigger on this snap.
I have figured out what the buddy box does.
Home field clock manager.
It opens so the phone will stand in front of you.
Well, they've run a halfback option. They've run a jet sweep. This is a straight pass going deep. That's
a bad route.
And that's going to be incomplete with 2 seconds remaining. So you're right. It was either a bad route or he got knocked off his route.
No, I think he made a move inside. The quarterback thought he was going outside. That's the guy you want to isolate, though. If they're going to start isolating people out there, I'm going to my kid who's 6'3". That's Jeremy Moylan. But good job defensively, and I think Moylan just tried to turn it inside.
By Jake Pfaff, and it is
which is not where he was supposed to go. So here you go, 2 seconds to play. Comes down to this throw down to the field.
See Connor Powers being attended to on the sideline by Paul Lilla, the trainer. His right hand seems to be the issue of question here. We got a timeout. Pembroke goes to their side. Westwood goes to theirs to talk things over for this last play of the half. 12-7 our score with 2 seconds remaining on the clock. It's been a competitive game. Both teams have had pretty good successes, and both teams have had some pretty big mistakes.
Yeah, it looks like a first game of the year to me. You get these guys back in the locker room, get them calmed down a little bit, just sort of give an overview of where you are, point out the stuff that you've done well. And there's a lot of stuff you can also point to, say, hey, that can't happen. You can't have a personal foul called against your captain when you have the ball with 3 minutes to go in the second quarter. That kind of stuff can't happen again all season. So at least it happened now so far. It didn't come back to bite you, but you can point to it in the locker room and say, listen, you were able to get some good stuff done in the first half. Let's concentrate on that. Now let's get the offense going. This offense has more potential than what we saw in that first half, no question about it.
Yeah, they definitely seem to be fighting themselves on offense. They have all the pieces. They're just not putting the puzzle together like they want right now on offense.
All right, time for the Den to get fired up. I like to see these kids get a little rowdy.
Looks like they've put Reed Wilson alongside Brian Murray, Drew Durker, and Jake Antonucci at the 10-yard line in a prevent.
4th down and 15.
Don't let anybody behind you, and what's the key? Knock it down.
Knock it down. And here we go. Westwood bringing everybody. Passes to the end zone, and it's knocked incomplete. I think that was Brian Murray on the defense there.
Yep, so Brian Murray gets 2 gold stars on that possession. He's able to knock down 2 passes in the end zone that would have made a huge difference for Pembroke. So now they both get a chance to go into the locker room, regroup, figure out what the game plan is going to be for the second half, try to work on the strengths, try to work on what you're able to accomplish, and tweak the things that you know might happen. I still think those long passes down the sideline in the right situation will be complete in the second half.
We did see one down the right sideline to Brian Murray that went incomplete, but he was wide open. They might need to start looking deep to some other receivers, not Antonucci. So maybe they'll look at that and some other things in their halftime break. We'll take a break and be back with second half action in a moment. 12-7 our score, Pembroke in the lead. Westwood will receive to start this second half. Hopefully we can get the offense going a little bit more consistent than we did last time.
Antonucci and Fay.
We had a 50-50 winner at halftime. $355 was the jackpot.
John Loughnane, Westwood resident, won it, former Westwood Little League president. Healy puts his foot into it. Nice kick. Fielded at the 10. Not cleanly.
Colin Fay returns the
Colin Fay. Looks like he let that ball hit his shoulder pads. Didn't catch it with his hands.
15-yard line. It'll be 1st and 10.
Maybe he misjudged how high it was coming in.
All right, so what would you do here? If you're the offensive coordinator of the Westwood Wolverines, what type of plays would you be calling here when they first?
Well, as you mentioned, I think right now, Reed Wilson, the quarterback, he needs some confidence. It doesn't matter how far the ball travels. If it's caught and you move down the field, you get confidence as a quarterback. I would run some short ins, some short outs, maybe wheel routes to a running back, but I would not throw the ball downfield necessarily. Watch, that's exactly what will happen here, and it'll go for 60 yards. We got a late comer here, Brian Murray. Don't know what he was doing. Not aware that he was in on this play. He split left. Antonucci split right. The give is to Shamar up the middle, and he's met at the line of scrimmage. He bounced right again.
You know, it's a difference there between a 1-yard gain and a 5-yard gain, and I think that comes with experience. You know, he's only a sophomore, and it's pretty clear that he's going to be a kid who's going to be a part of this program for a while. If he just turns that left and gets himself the additional 3 or 4 yards, you're turning a 2nd and 9 into a 2nd and 6. And that's a different play call, and that keeps the chains moving. But again, that just comes with being out there and having the opportunity to run the ball a few more times than he has already at this level.
Same setup, they're running tight ends this time. The give is up to Hall again. Tries to bounce it outside. He's met there quickly.
That's Aiden Glynn on the outside. Gillen, I should. I'm going to think that's a typo. It's Gyllnn, but I think it's probably Glynn.
We'll go with Glynn.
For those of you watching in Pembroke who just heard me mispronounce Aiden's name, I apologize.
Loss of 5 on the play. 3rd down and 14.
So that puts you in another bad position. 3rd and 14. Moving backwards is not what you want to do, but they ran the ball twice. It's not their forte so far. They need to work on this. And now they're set up in a really difficult passing situation. And it looks like Pembroke's bringing some heat. Trying to rush Wilson. He does rush him. He throws it up for grabs. Murray was unaware the ball was thrown. Reed had to get rid of it quicker than he wanted to. Murray wasn't looking for the ball when he should have been. Almost picked off.
Yeah, it really should have been picked off. That was Luke Carroll out there playing right cornerback. You know, you talked about the fact that it looked like they were going to bring some heat, and they didn't come after him too aggressively, but Westwood only sent 3 guys out on the play, and it was clear that he wanted to separate Murray on that play and go to the left side.
Punt is away nicely. Going to let it bounce. Takes a Westwood hop. Going down near the 35-yard line.
Punt is down at the 35-yard
It's a 50-yard kick.
55-yard kick from the 10 to the 35.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, we'll take that.
I mean, that's a weapon, really. You know, you hear, I remember last year, Bill Belichick's always looking to compliment the other team, right? So when the Los Angeles Rams came in as one of the worst teams in the league, he talked about Johnny Hecker. And he described Johnny Hecker as a weapon. He goes, he's a weapon. And when you have a punter who's that good, and I guess if you're going to be a bad team, you better have a good punter. It is a nice weapon to have. And I'm certainly not suggesting that Westwood's a bad team, but if you can get a kid like that who can flip the field, take him 10 times out of 10.
You're going to have possessions that just don't go right. Here's Westwood, fumbled snap. Westwood is bringing everyone, and they're going to pay the price. They all ran by the ball carrier. They will not bring him down because no one is tackling at the legs. They're all grabbing his waist and his shoulder pads, and he takes them for a ride.
22-yard gain for Nick Lane. I would say 17 of those yards, he had people draped all over his back.
From what I saw in the scrimmages, one of the things that Westwood needed to work on, their line play was one, and the second was just what we saw right there, tackling. They do not tackle in the open field well. They tackle high, and they tackle with arms. They don't execute a form tackle. We saw a few broken tackles in the first half go for long distances for the Titans. Up the middle goes Lane. He's met there. Nicely done. It's like Mason stopped him at the line for no gain. Brings up 2nd and 10.
Kyle Watts, the ball carrier.
Thought that was Lane, my mistake. Sorry. It's Kyle Watts.
This is gut check time. I mean, I know it's early in the third quarter, but this is a critical defensive possession for the Westwood Wolverines. You got a team that comes into the second half with a 5-point lead. You need to force the tone of this game and change it back in your favor.
There's a short bubble screen. Missed tackle, more missed tackles. Goes for a first down. These boys need to learn how to hit with the shoulder pads. Wrap them up.
Kelly's pass complete to Nathan Beath.
Oh, that'll be a possible focal point this next week in practice.
The gain is enough for a Pembroke first down. First and
We have
10.
Braden Locknane coming in
Westwood 33.
in the safety position. We have first down, 10. The pitch is to the right. Strung out there by the defense nicely, but they don't bring him down.
Yep, could have been a 3-yard loss. Instead, it's a 1 or 2-yard gain right there. And that's a guy who's already shown you throughout the night that he's going to run people over. A couple of guys down on that play, too. A lot of collision. That's the big boy for the Westwood Wolverines right there. That's Colin Best, who's injured, but he's back up and walking to the defensive line. I can't see a number on the Pembroke kid across the field.
Colin Best coming off the field. Westwood had a lot of kids come off the field after that play.
That was Luke Carroll, who is banged up for Pembroke on that play. Going over to the sideline right now, getting looked at by the trainer.
So it's 2nd and long 8. Ball's at the 31-yard line. 6:32 left to go in the third. Ball's up the middle again. Big hole. Brought down by Matt Berluti.
Lane, the ball carrier.
They're opening some holes up.
Tackle by Berluti.
Don't know if the line's getting tired or what. Too many 3-and-outs. They're out there too long.
So now you got yourself a third and short from the 26. You'd have to think that Pembroke's probably going to run the ball based on the success that they've had.
Third down.
And they don't have a field goal kicker. So it's 2-down territory right here.
Yeah.
And here's the pass.
Another bubble screen out to the left side. That's going to be good for another first down.
And that's Tommy Brooks again. We've seen that play a couple of times.
He's staying down on the turf.
Brooks slow to get up.
May have landed on the ball on his stomach.
Kelly's pass intended for Tommy Brooks.
Seemed to be grabbing his midsection there. He's up.
Pass completed, and an official's timeout.
So that's a first down at the 16. They don't seem to have an answer for that little bubble screen they're running on the left side. They haven't run to the right side. It keeps going to the left.
Well, you've touched on it already 3 or 4 times in this series alone. They got to figure out a way to get an offensive player to the ground. They've gotten about 25, 35 yards worth of yardage after contact on this drive alone.
Up the middle is Lane again. Had a hole, closed up. He moves forward for about a gain of 3.
Lane, the ball carrier.
You know, you see that in the NFL, you'll see a lot of defensive backs, safeties come up and make tackles without any use of their arms. They will go after the guy's legs, after the guy's knees, but they're really not focusing on the hit and wrap technique that is taught at the high school level, the proper form tackling. And I have to believe on some level the kids see the ESPN highlights and they just see the big hits and they're just happy with making a hit, but they're not making the tackles. So 2nd and 7. Going back to the run, the pitch sweep to the right. He's pushed in. Back to the help, Matt Berluti right in the back of the runner. We got a flag coming from the back judge.
I mean, it's incredible. He was hit at the hash mark, and he didn't go down until he was by the sideline.
Yeah.
That was Kyle Watts. So the scouting report is out here.
As you mentioned, Pembroke started out really strong last year. Started with a 3-2 record, but they finished with 3-8. So they were happy with their beginning part of the season. And I got to believe right now, as they're rebuilding a program, as you mentioned before, be ahead 12-7, and offensively they're moving the ball against Westwood. So I think they got to be pretty happy with how they're playing today.
The signal for pass interference.
And Jack Kelly's done a good job at quarterback. And this is a kid who we mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast has torn his ACL twice. And can you imagine doing that the second time, knowing what the rehab is all about? And he actually went through that rehab at the TB12 center and got a lot of encouragement, got himself back out on the field, and he's had a great debut to his 2017 season.
Give us off the left side. Missed tackle there. We got a penalty flag thrown. He got around the outside. Lane. Call was a touchdown on the field, but there was a flag thrown. The referees are conferring. Let's see what the call is. Holding against Pembroke, so it's coming back. Not sure if the hold is why he broke free there, but he did break free.
Yeah, well, you know, it came from that side of the field. So, you know, the flag came in from the official on the left side of the field, and that's where the ball went. And that's where Lane was able to break free. And it was pretty early in the play, so it's typically right around the point of contact there where a penalty is called. So now you're backed up, 2nd and 19 from the 25.
So what you said, Kelly has done a good job at quarterback. If you've noticed, they have not demanded much of him in the way of throwing. He has not thrown the ball downfield.
No, you're right. The bubble screens worked. And again, that gets back to the confidence issue we were talking about before.
It's a give to Lane. This time he's brought down.
And there's a tackle. That's Matt Mason getting the job done.
Nice job.
So now you get yourself a 3rd and forever. And again, you're probably looking at a 2-down situation. So these guys don't necessarily have to go for the first down on this play right here.
No, they'd be very happy with a 10-yard pickup, 8-yard pickup, get half of it. and try your luck on 4th down.
There it is.
Ball is thrown high. No one seemed to be playing ball there. They were playing man. They looked late. I'm not sure.
You heard me. Sorry to jump on it there, but the ball's in the air and just your instinct takes over. It's there for the taking, and no one was looking for it.
Yeah, I think they were all surprised the ball was thrown as quick as it was. The defenders, that is. I don't know what the offensive players were thinking, but so that sets up a 4th and 19 on the 25. They got to get to the 6 for a 1st down. I think even if they don't get it, they love to get some yardage to put Westwood's offense even deeper into their own territory to start their next possession.
4th down and 19.
This might be a time maybe Westwood brings a blitz. He's going to be throwing downfield. And they do come with a blitz from the outside. He's taken out of the play. Ball is thrown a little bit low, and it falls incomplete harmlessly to the turf.
Good job. That was your son. That Jake came around the edge there and it didn't make a tackle, didn't make a sack, but he forced the play, and I think the quarterback had to throw the ball a little bit sooner than he wanted to. And again, it would have been a 1st down, would have gotten him a couple of yards, but instead Westwood gets the ball on the 25. Good job by Jake Pfaff there.
So let's see what the offense can do. They've been really stagnant. Have really been unable, and let's see if they start coming up with some different, a little deeper into the playbook.
And take a look at the clock. I mean, 3 minutes and 21 seconds left here in the 3rd quarter. Pembroke just took a ton of time off the clock on that last possession.
You're right. There's a penalty on left tackle, looks like.
The initial signal is against Westwood, false start.
I think that's gone Owen Pfaff, senior offensive lineman, the left tackle.
That's a tough one because the defense makes the move across, and you see that call made in the NFL where if the defense initiates the movement, sometimes they call that penalty against the defense, and the coaches to our left here were campaigning for that a little bit because that Pembroke defender did come pretty close to the neutral zone on that one for sure.
So we got 4 wideouts, 2 left, 2 right. Passes to the right wideout, who was Mark James.
That's the play. That's the play you want to run. Something short. James come back to the ball a little bit, but it's got to be a better throw too.
Yeah, it didn't. Did they call that a completed pass?
No, it was incomplete.
Yeah, it looked like he stopped his route, and Reed thought he was coming back closer to him. So we got 2nd and 15. They need to get to the 35. Wilson takes the snap, looking to his left, throws over the middle to Antonucci, complete. He goes down at the 37 for a 1st down.
Maybe one of the best design plays of the night. That was an area of the field that Pembroke had left wide open. And Wilson able to get it to Annucci, and this isn't what you want to see.
No, he stays down. Antonucci had a broken ankle last year, and his season ended early. Wears a brace on his ankle. And they're looking at the lower leg.
Yeah.
Boy, that would spell disaster for this offense and defense. He goes both ways. Obviously a huge contributor to this football team.
I was here last year for the game against Hopkinton. And if you were here, that was basically the Antonucci Bowl. Because the two brothers were in the end zone all night.
Yeah.
And they just have an explosiveness to them, and they have a confidence to them. And you know what that might have been? And you don't want to play doctor from the booth, but sometimes it's okay to guess. Early in the season, most notably, what happens? These kids get cramps.
Yeah,
so there's nothing more painful than a cramp, and it feels as though you got a knife sticking in your muscle. But then once the pain goes away. All of a sudden, there's no pain at all. So what you got to do is you got to drink a lot of water.
Hydrate on the sideline.
The other thing that always works, listen, if you ever get a cramp, you're going to think I'm crazy, but this totally works. You got to drink pickle juice. Pickle juice gets rid of cramps instantaneously. I learned that actually years ago when I was covering the Eagles, and they had a big problem with cramps one week, but the trainer knew that pickle juice solved the problem, and they always had it on the sideline. It's a crazy thing. I tried it once. It absolutely works.
We'll have to put that line item on the budget for next year.
He's stretching out his calf, so it's probably a cramp. That's probably exactly what happened to him.
Wilson looks quick over the middle.
Great catch.
Stopped by Kevin McDonald. Brings it down through an initial bobble. Turn and run for a first down. Gain of about 14 yards.
Here we go. Let's get it moving, right? Now you got some momentum. Now you got the guys going in the right direction. It's only going to be probably a matter of seconds till they get Antonucci back out on the field after he gets that cramp loosened up. He's back out on the field right now. So he just misses a play. He's right back out there.
Yep. He had himself a dill pickle or something, and now he's good to go.
Let's get it going. Pick up the pace a little bit.
Ball to 48. 1st and 10 for the Wolverines. Wilson looking left. Short pass. Complete. Stop there after a gain of 3 yards. Looks like Drew Durker, the receiver on that play.
Wilson's pass complete.
Good defense, quick stop, but a confidence-building throw. Exactly what we've been talking about the whole night. Now look at this, the difference in the way that Wilson's carrying himself, right? What you want to see is over the next couple of plays, if that translates to him being able to execute a play further down the field. But now he's just been able to string together a couple of completions back to back to back. Now it's time to step it up.
Well, and they're also setting up what's popular in high school is the hitch and go. The pump fake on the short and run it long. Wilson looking short again. Ball is knocked down at the line of scrimmage. So maybe their defensive line is catching on also, and they're listening to their coaches, reminding them to get their hands up. Matt Berluti coming in to spell Shamar Hall at running back.
Third and 7. I know this is how high school and college football is going with the players not huddling up. It drives me crazy. It's the pace of play is enough to drive you nuts. And I know it's a big play and I know it's a critical call, but they had momentum and then they just hit the brakes. You know, when a team's going well, you got to just keep it moving. Have a series of plays that you know are going to work, you know you're going to call.
Wilson looks left, he pumps, he's going deep to Antonucci. He's got him. He's in for the score. There's that pump fake.
Excellent job. You called it. Fantastic look by Wilson. I think it's the whole story of building up his confidence, getting some short completions. Then when it's time to go downfield, a play that has been open throughout the night, he's finally able to connect. Antonucci turns on the Jets. He could have been pushed out of bounds inside the 20-yard line, but he's able to tiptoe down the stripe and get himself into the end zone to give the Wolverines a lead here.
The points have not been put on the board yet. I'm not certain as to why, but Westwood would have the lead 13-12 with the 6 points. Oh, 1st and goal.
Yeah, they called him out of bounds on the 6-yard line. So he must have stepped out of bounds. This is where it hurts to be as far away from the play as we are and not have a look down the sideline, which would be beneficial, but he was marked out of bounds at the 6-yard line. So it's still 12-7. They got the ball 1st and goal at the 6.
So I retract my excited call earlier.
That's okay. You get to do it again.
We'll have it again, and hopefully in a play or two. Looks like they're going to that full house backfield. We're going to have a timeout called. Coach Pindell on the sideline didn't like what he saw. Something was going on. They looked unsettled there in their situation. And Wilson is now coming out. I don't think Pindell ultimately liked that package that was out there on the field for that play.
Flies in the face of how they got this far. And I know that it worked in the first quarter, and it was a solid play call. We talked about running behind 6 or 7 guys on the line of scrimmage and how it's going to get you in the end zone 9 out of 10 times. But given how they've gotten the ball to this point on the field, you'd like to see your quarterback finish off this drive.
So it's 1st and goal at the 6 for the Wolverines.
But they got Antonucci back there to take that snap. There you
Wilson
go.
is playing on the wing left. Takes a direct snap. He runs left. He's trying to get outside. They sniff that one out.
Antonucci on the keeper from the direct snap.
So Wilson's going to come over to the sideline, get the play call from Coach Pindell. And he's going to stay on the sideline. They're going to stay in that package. I saw Drew Durker going out there. Evidently, he was going out to sub in for Reed Wilson. So Antonucci is in the backfield, taking this direct snap. He's got 2 players to his right. Little delay step, trying to get around the corner. He's very close. He's in. That was all speed. It's like the delay stutter step got the defensive end or the outside linebacker a little flat-footed, and then Jake turned the speed on, and there's no way a linebacker's going to catch him.
That is a great effort. And what he did at the very end of that play, he was going down, probably had his feet at about the 3-yard line, maybe the 2-yard line. He was able to stretch out with his right hand and get that football just across the line. That's good instinct. That's a kid who's played in a lot of varsity football games and knows how to get the end zone. So here comes the MVP, right?
Yeah. Kick is up, and it is good. Giving Westwood a 2-point lead, 14-12, our score with 23 seconds remaining in the third.
Westwood
Wow.
14, Pembroke 12.
There you go.
Love to see that.
That was
Good to
good.
see.
Hey, first game, went back into the locker room, talked a little bit about how you're going to get yourself on the same page offensively, and I think that's what this offense can do. You know, I think you see, when you look at some of the guys who have handled the ball early in this one, you got sophomore Mark James, he's got a pass that was thrown his direction. You got Kevin McDonald, who made a big catch on that possession. You've seen Shamar Hall run the ball a couple of times. Those are 3 sophomores who are going to be playing on this team for the next few years. It's good to get them involved, good to have them make some positive contributions, and then when it all comes down to it, you got your leaders of the team, Reed Wilson and Jake Antonucci, making the big plays and getting the ball into the end zone.
That's what they need to do. They need this game, the early part of the season, they need to come together as a team and figure out who are the contributors going to be in addition to Reed and Jake Antonucci. To be a successful team, obviously, they can't do it themselves. They need others to carry the load. The defensive line has been doing a good job. Let's find out who all the players are here. Looks like a little onside kick, a little pooch kick. Westwood slow to recover. Another high tackle.
I think that was Jeremy Moylan. We'll see if 33 jumps out of that pile. But that was one of the guys we've talked about earlier who's a big kid. No, that was actually number 30. That was number 30. So that was Luke Carroll who returned that kick. So now they got the ball past the 40-yard line, but they've also got a player down.
I'm not sure I understand that. You got a leg like that.
Yeah, I'm with you.
I don't understand. High school football, field position is everything. Sustained drives are hard to come by in high school football. So you start a team off on their 5, 10, 15, 20-yard line, it's hard to complete, especially a team that has no field goal kicker. So they got to get it into the end zone to score.
Right. And we've seen Nick kick the ball all the way down to the goal line a couple of times tonight.
Yeah.
Maybe they just saw something with that player. They wanted to get the ball in his hands with the hopes of maybe pulling it out. But
so an interesting play call to as we're winding down this third quarter to pooch kick it down to about the 30. I've often wondered about this. You see players, it didn't happen when I was playing. Whenever there's a player hurt, everyone takes a knee. I'd just be fascinated to see the almost the sociological origin of how that happened. Well, you see nobody on the Pembroke side is taking a knee, but it's their player who is in fact injured.
Yeah, good sportsmanship.
I get the sportsmanship. It's just an interesting thing to watch transpire. You see soccer kids go down and the whole playground takes a knee, it seems like. Can't quite make out who the injured player is. Number 7 might be Bryce Garvey.
Yes.
The give is up the middle. He bounces it outside.
Man.
Lane.
Man, that was a 2-yard play. That was a 2-yard play, and he was able to bounce it out right, turned it into an 18, 20-yard gain.
You just can't let that happen.
Give him 15 on that one, so he's to the 44.
Across midfield to the Westwood 44. It is a first down.
It's important that whoever the outside end or linebacker is on that side, you've got to stay home. You've got to, until the ball is past you on the field, you cannot pursue. You have to stay home so that doesn't happen. Game clock seems to be stopped at 4. So this will be our last play of the third quarter. Westwood in the lead, 14-12. Ball's at the 44-yard line, 1st and 10 for the Titans. Passing left.
Oh.
Another bubble screen. Seen that.
Kelly's pass complete to Tommy Brooks.
Yeah, you know, you look at the sophomore, Mark James, right there. He diagnosed the play. He saw it. He knew it was coming. And I think he went for what turned out to be the wrong receiver, because it was the receiver who initially was inside, but the pass went to the guy who was initially outside. And he'll learn. His sophomore. You know, that's what happens. It's September 8th. Tommy Brooks down after that play. He's the one who caught that pass.
I forget who it was a basketball announcer that once said, best thing that ever happened to a freshman is he became a sophomore. And in high school football, that's usually the case for sophomores becoming juniors. Not many freshmen make their way to the varsity level.
No, your body changes so much. And
it's a big difference, you're right, between a 14-year-old and an 18-year-old.
Physically and mentally, too. And that's really at every stage of the game until you get to the pros. And you can even look at some of the pros and how their bodies have developed. I mean, you look at Julian Edelman now versus Julian Edelman in 2009. It's like a different person altogether.
You're right.
But
that play was also the
at the collegiate level, the guys who make it to that point, they typically get there at, if you're a big guy, 275, and you're leaving and you're 325. You're talking about putting on 50 pounds of weight over the course of 4 years. And here, you can have a kid who enters high school at 5'6", 150, something like that, and then suddenly he's 6 feet tall. He's two bills.
Right.
So it just takes time. You got to be patient. And when you got kids like that, and it looks like Westwood's got a couple of sophomores who can be explosive, you just got to give them time to mature, grow up, figure out what they're good at, and put them in a space where they can make a difference.
So we have 2nd and 5, ball on the 39, starting the fourth quarter. Kelly in the pistol. They run motion. They fake the sweep. They give up the middle of the lane. No one tackling the legs again.
Took 5 guys to get him down.
Got to learn how to tackle the ball carrier.
Lane, the ball carrier.
And we got somebody hobbling off the field for the Wolverines. That Drew Durker.
Yep. And that was 85 who made the tackle. And I think Jay's struggling with the same thing we are right now. I don't see an 85 on the roster.
Gains a first down for Pembroke, 1st and 10 at the Westwood 24.
First down. The pitch sweep right. They push it inside, but no one's there to help.
Watts on the carry.
Finally, it's Loughnane who comes in to make the tackle.
Tackle by Braden.
Kyle Watts, I think you're seeing it on both sides here. I think this is just cramping up. That time of year, cramping up.
I know they don't.
They're quick to bounce up. They hit you hard, but they go away just as fast.
Well, he's got to come off the field now. Kyle Watts. As the play clock was stopped for his assistants. Someone whose name we've only mentioned once, and last year really made a name for himself, is Brian Burns. He caught that believe he caught that touchdown pass in the first half, coming out of the tight end position. Was fought for with Jake Antonucci over on the far side of the field. Wouldn't be surprised to see them call his number again.
Yeah, they're squared up one-on-one right here.
And they're going to back up 5 on 2nd and 2.
That penalty was either on the center or everybody else.
Right.
The offense of Pembroke. Will be a 5-yard walk-off.
So that's bring up a 2nd and 7.
From the Westwood 26.
Not an obvious passing down. Seems like if they were going to pass, they'd pull out that bubble screen again.
You know, if they do call that same play, and I don't know if they're going to call the same play they just had run. You mentioned Burns, who was isolated on the right side against Antonucci. He was making a beeline for the end zone.
Was he? And Tommy Brooks is back in.
It's not the same play because it's not the same formation.
Yeah. They are playing press cover. Oh, no, they drop back now. They fake the give. They're throwing the left corner. Some contact there.
Yeah.
Kelly's pass is incomplete, and there are flags on the play.
That's John Hannon, who I think may have thought he was beaten. And if the pass had gone that way, he probably was beaten. But the pass went a little bit further outside, and when the receiver made the move to catch the pass outside, he kind of ran right into Hannon. And you're going to get that called on you every time.
I think they're talking about, was it illegal contact downfield because it wasn't a catchable pass, or was it an interference? They're talking about how much to measure to walk this off. And here comes Hannon off the field. And Durker is back in at that right cornerback position.
While we wait for this ruling, I have to tell you there's another cell phone.
More cell phones lost here in the stands.
There's been a cell phone and an Apple Watch, which may or may not be
And
from
it
the
looks
same
like they are
phone.
putting the ball down on the 6-yard line. That's going to be a 1st and goal
Phone with a
situation.
soccer ball holder on the back and a green cover case thing.
I think there's a lot of discussion as to where this ball
I don't know. Maybe
should be
it's just a
placed.
Fitbit.
Not sure how they came up with the 6-yard line. I don't know what the line of scrimmage
yeah,
was.
right. If they're calling it a 15-yard penalty, that would mean it would have been on the 21. So that's probably what they did. They probably gave him a 15-yard penalty because they were just outside the red zone.
It's a big 4 plays coming up here for Westwood. They give the ball to fullback right up the middle. He's stopped.
That's Nathan Beath, and that's the guy who you should expect to get the ball up the gut if they're going to run it that way. And, you know, good defensive play, but a kid who's that big, all he's got to do is fall forward. He's going to get you 2 or 3. So now instead of it being 2nd and goal from the 6, it's 2nd and goal from the 4.
Westwood with their run-stopping defense, their largest defensive line out there, anchored by Colin Best. The pitch is coming to the right side. They push it in. Where's the help? There it is. Westwood with a nice defensive stop right there. Oh, a little push after the fact. Pembroke player just pushed Jake Antonucci, and Jake was not involved at all. I don't know what he was thinking, but that just cost his team 15 big yards.
That was great contain on the outside. And then look who stepped up and made the big play, the sophomore, Shamar Hall, right? So he steps into the gap there, and it's 2nd and goal from the 4-yard line. Makes a big stop to lose yardage, and then they tack on another 15 going the wrong way after the whistle. So it's now going to be 3rd and goal from the 22.
Counts.
Ball spotted now at the 22-yard line.
Clock stops with the penalty.
It is 3rd and goal.
3rd and goal from the 22.
22-yard line.
Pembroke breaks her huddle.
Look at the isolation on the left side.
You got split receiver left, slot comes in motion. That's
where he's
looking to throw wide open. They left him alone. Here comes Durker to make the tackle. He misses it. He's in for the score.
And that's your guy. That's Brian Burns. You know, You looked at the play, they brought all the motion to the right side. They had one receiver split out left against one defensive back. Then they brought that Burns from I think the tight end position and got him out into the left flat, got the ball to him, and the defensive back who'd been out there in coverage 15, 20 yards deep now has to come up and try and make a play in the open field and wasn't able to get it done. Incredible execution there by Pembroke to get in the end zone.
It was very patient by Kelly at quarterback to allow that play to develop because it needed to. They had to allow time for the defense to move all in one direction, and that's exactly what they're hoping for.
And that's your guy, that's Burns, that's who you talked about. So for the second time tonight, he's in the end zone.
Going for two, 18-14 our score. This would give them a 6-point lead. Looking over the middle, pass is broken up. No good is the attempt.
Incomplete.
That's Braden Locknane,
Conversion try.
the junior, who's come in to spell Dylan Mahoney at safety. So it's a 4-point game, 18-14 with 8:28 left to go in the game. 4 points, I think we're safe to say probably not looking at overtime. So this one will end in 8 minutes and 28 seconds.
You've never seen two safeties in 8 minutes?
Well, I guess in high school football you could see anything.
So I have this other cell phone. It's silver. It has a green case. It has a soccer ball holder on the back of it. I think it's Brendan, and I think you just got a text from Kiernan. Come on up and get it. There's also a blue Apple Watch or something like that.
So
it may or may not be the same.
Healy out to kick for the Titans.
Running count is 3 now. 3 with an asterisk.
You know, at this point,
Apple Watch.
You can't let it frustrate you that you just gave up the lead. What you have to remind yourself is that your offense just went on the field and put together a drive that was the best drive of the night. So the offense should be able to move the ball, and the offense should get in the huddle after they take this kickoff with a lot of confidence. So if I'm Westwood, I'm feeling pretty good still on the sideline, despite the fact that we just gave up 3rd and goal from the 22.
There's plenty of time. There's no need to panic here for Westwood. Ball fielded by Dom Howe. He's brought down at the 25.
Healy's kickoff fielded by Fay.
It's Fay, sorry about that. Colin Fay, sophomore. So Westwood's offense takes the field at the 26-yard line.
That it's a Fitbit Charge HR.
So you talked about how difficult it is to put together long drives, right, in high school. That's what Westwood's looking at here. And that's why they should be thankful that they were able to put together a long drive the last time they had the ball. And how did they do it? They took it down the field very methodically, little chunks at a time. Keep everybody confident. Keep the ball moving forward. Pick up the pace a little bit. You know, they had picked up the pace until they had that long play. That ultimately was the right call. They took their time making that play selection, and it worked to get them down inside the 10-yard line. But let's pick up the pace, get some confidence going, small chunks at a time.
Pembroke showing blitz, and they back off and drop into coverage. Wilson rolling right. He's firing deep to Antonucci again. He's got him. He's pushed out of bounds at the 45-yard line.
No time to waste, and we've talked about all night how that play is there, and those guys would connect, and it took 3-4 attempts in the first half for it to fall incomplete or be broken up, but they did not shy away from it. They've been going back to it all night. Now we've seen on 2 separate drives them going back to that deep ball and being successful with it.
It looks like Jake is getting some separation from the defender. He's not getting bogged down at the line. It looks like they're either playing off of him deeper or he's found a way to get around that defender off the line. So he's getting a free, clean break off of the line.
Pembroke 45.
2 receivers each side. Fay in the backfield. Pembroke trying to time the blitz. They're outside to Mark James Jr. He's got to break it outside. He does. Nice stiff arm there.
You know,
sophomore.
You see Mark James and sophomore, you just mentioned it, and all I can think about is like, wow. Just imagine what he's going to be in 2 years. You know, he might be 3-4 inches taller. He's probably going to be a second faster than he is right now. He's still running out there a little bit like a young deer. You know, he's got the potential. You know that he's got the innate speed. He's just got to figure out how to put it all together and get some confidence. And once he does, look out, man. He's got the whole package.
Looking at this, they do have 3 sophomores out there in Fay, McDonald, and James. Split wide right are Durker and Antonucci. I believe that's Antonucci. The far right side. Wilson, the give is to Fay up the middle. He's stopped quickly. Bottled up, maybe lost a yard. That was 2nd and 3, and now it's going to bring up 3rd and 4. You know, something else that's interesting here, the addition of McCory and the kicking game, they don't need to score a touchdown here. If they could kick a field goal, if that's all they can get is a field goal, then they're in line for another field goal after a stop would win it. They get it to become a 1-score game. You don't hear that much in high school football, but with the leg that this kid's got, that's a possibility. Same formation. Wilson over the middle to McDonald. Not sure what they called.
Well, they're
It
calling
was a
loose
catch
ball
and a loose ball.
Fumble recovery.
Pembroke recovers it.
Pass complete to McDonald. A fumble at the end of the play. The signal is recovery by Pembroke.
And with nothing to refute the call, no video replay.
All right, so sudden change, right? What do you got to do here? You got to get on the field and make a big play right here. This is really more important than the play where the turnover took place. A lot of times a sudden change play where both teams are dealing on a lot of emotion. This is where the defense can step up and maybe even make a play of their own.
Be very surprised to see Pembroke throw the ball any more than 5 yards down the field here. They want to keep the clock moving, and now they obviously want to move the chains. But even at this point, a punt would put Westwood way back into their own territory. But we've seen fumbled snap before in this game. We've seen a fumble by Pembroke's running back before. Might have been first quarter jitters, I don't know, but a turnover here would be big for Westwood. Another instance where nobody putting a hat on the legs of the running back. I looked like it was up the middle was Leyden.
Leyden, the ball carrier.
And tick, tick, tick. Now we're under 6.5 minutes to go. Ball already on your side of the field. There needs to be a little bit more urgency in terms of trying to force a turnover. You know, if you got a running back, you got to start thinking about punching that ball out. You got to think about how you can get it loose. Because like you mentioned just a minute ago, even stopping them here and forcing them to punt is going to pin your offense back.
2nd and 5 at the Westwood 48.
2nd and 5 at the 48 for the Titans. Kelly looks over the defense. The give is up the middle of the lane. He's got a hole, a big hole. Going for the ball unsuccessfully. Braden Loughnane, that wasn't Lane, that was Kyle Watts.
The ball carrier.
Running the ball up the middle. A nice burst of speed through a big hole there.
Tackled by Braden Loughnane.
So that's going to set up a first down at the 30.
1st and 10, Pembroke at the Westwood 30.
Westwood's inability to stop this run is really, really hurting their cause here in the second half.
You know, give the Pembroke kids up front credit because we know the Westwood kids better, obviously, and they have some size, and we pointed to their conditioning as maybe a point of differentiation, but at this stage of the game, Pembroke is getting a good push off the ball, and they're clearly playing with a lot of confidence. They know they can put this game away if they punch it into the end zone.
Up the middle is Lane. He tries to bounce it outside. He's tripped up there.
Lane, the ball carrier.
Tripped up by Shamar Hall.
Two biggest tackles of this quarter have been made by Hall, who's coming off the field now, kind of hanging his left side.
That's Hall. Yep. Hall is injured over on the sideline. He got himself off the field. Here comes the trainer. So we got 2nd and 12. Loss of 2 on that play. Low snap. Handled nicely. Up the middle. Watts again. Bounces it to the outside. Run out of bounds.
Watts, the ball carrier.
That's going to be... Do we have a flag down? The refs are talking. It looks like we got a hold against Pembroke.
There's a flag on the play.
Couldn't come at a better time for Westwood right there. It's exactly what they needed. I mean, Pembroke's just playing with more explosiveness. At this point in the game, they see blood in the water, and they're just trying to finish it off.
Yeah, they're running downhill.
Yeah.
But they're only shooting themselves in the foot with those kind of penalties. So far, they've been the best possibility for Westwood to stop these runs.
So a 2nd and 16 from the 36 with 4 minutes and 19 seconds left.
Hall is fine. He's back out on the field.
Up 2nd down and 16.
Makes you wonder what kind of play they're going to call here, because they want that clock to keep running. But they got a long way to go.
The give is to Lane. Bounces it to the left side. Pursued there by Durker and brought down after a gain of just about 10. It was 2nd and 16.
Out of bounds stops the clock with 4:10 left. So now you got a 3rd and about 7 to go.
That's something that you got to believe the Pembroke coach is yelling out to the ball carriers. Don't run out of bounds. You don't need to. We don't want to. So we got 3rd and 7.
Play brings up 3rd down and 7 from the 27.
Big play here. Obviously, they're going to go for it on 4th if it comes to that.
Which in my mind opens this up to a clear run situation.
Bring him in motion. They fake the jet screen again, go up the middle. Westwood trying to get the ball. Some players are trying to signal. They got it. We got a penalty flag.
And a flag after the play.
Against Westwood.
Man. Signal is a penalty against Westwood.
That's devastating.
Foul penalty after the play against Westwood.
That's devastating. You're looking at a 4th down.
4th and about 5.
And then now they got an automatic 1st on a personal foul.
That's unfortunate.
Now we've seen that twice now tonight. Once on the offensive side and once on the defensive side. And it's one of those things you wish you could talk to the referee and find out exactly what it was so you had a clear understanding of what it is. But at that point of the game, it's just discipline. You know, all discipline and intelligence. So now they got a 1st down on the 14-yard line with 3:57 to go.
Coach Pindell asking for some clarification from the referee. And the assistant coach is here in the booth also looking for the identity of the person. So 3:57 left to go in the game. 1st and 10 on the 13. Up the middle's Lane. He's met by Colin Best.
Here's where you want to start thinking about timeouts too. If you've got all these timeouts, you better start using them because that clock's going to start running down.
Yeah, I'm not sure how many timeouts Westwood has taken so far this half. But now might be a good time to use them. Loss of 3, 2.5 to 3 on that play, so it's 2nd and about 13.
I mean, that play ended at 3:47. You're down to 3:24 right now with that clock running.
Yeah. And they're going to keep running it. So you'd rather get the ball back with no timeouts with a lot of clock than no clock and a lot of timeouts. Pitch left to Lane. He cuts it back inside. He's tackled by, looks like maybe Matt Mason.
And there's the timeout right there with 3:03 to go. So the coaching staff hopping on board, trying to stop that clock. Now they're looking at a 3rd down, about 8 to go from the 10-yard line, 11-yard line. Again, they're going to go, it's 2-down territory. You know, they're not going to try to kick a field goal. They know that even if they leave the ball down there, Westwood's got to drive the ball almost 90 yards with less than 3 seconds on the 3 minutes on the clock. So 2-down territory for sure.
No matter what level of football you're playing, turnovers will always kill you. And obviously the late turnover here in this game. They move and they had the ball on the other side of the midfield, but all for naught. Led to this drive. 3rd and 7, and we snap it next. Ball is on the 11-yard line. Westwood in dire need of a stop, and they'll use Another timeout after this play, if necessary. Like to get the ball back with as much clock as possible.
So either one of these guys who've been running the ball consistently for Pembroke, you got to figure they're going to get the ball. It's either going to be Watts or Lane. And credit both of them. They both had solid games.
Yeah.
And then you got Beath, right?
Yeah,
all
they've
three
done
of their
damage.
backs have been really effective moving the ball.
Tommy Brooks on that jet sweep is something else. It wouldn't surprise me that they try to run just to catch Westwood off guard. They've been running it up the middle. Oh, they're in double tight right now with a power eye. Under center is Kelly, and they're looking to pass into the end zone. And it was in and out of the hands of the defender, Drew Durker. It hit him in the face mask, I think. That had an interception written all over it. Poor decision to throw that football. They had coverage all over the field. 3 receivers in the end zone. All 3 were covered.
So if he had caught that, you would have been looking at the ball on the 20 or 25. I don't know where they bring it back to after a touchback at this level. But now you got to wait one more play.
Yep.
And they're likely going to go.
What that does do is it preserves a timeout for Westwood.
Right. Yep.
The incomplete pass. But Westwood does use it anyway to talk things over. Or did Pembroke call this timeout?
Jay Reisha just cleared it up. It was a Pembroke timeout, so they're going to talk about this 4th down play.
So it doesn't matter if they pass or run. If it doesn't make the first down, the clock stops on the turnover on downs. So their whole playbook is open on this play to gain the first or obviously the touchdown.
And you might see something similar to the touchdown pass we saw to Brian Burns the last time. I think if they can get somebody in isolation and just create an island out there where it's body on body and make it a one-on-one matchup. Because you really can't lose, as we've discussed before. I mean, obviously you want to put the points on the board, but if you don't get the points on the board, you're leaving Westwood with 90-plus yards to march. We're now under 250 by the time this play is done. It'll be a tough task, but nothing's impossible when you got speedy guys in the backfield like Westwood does.
Now here we go. This is the play of the game, essentially. Westwood stops them. They take over and have a chance on offense. They convert this 4th down, 4th and 7, and the game is pretty much sealed. They're in the pistol. Here comes Brooks. They look right into the corner of the end zone, and we're going to have a penalty flag on Jake Antonucci. He did not look for the football. He was there. He was physically there, but he didn't look for the football. He just jumped up and made contact.
Signal is against
with the receiver.
What they did is they isolated Corey Jones, a 6'4", 220-pound tight end on Antonucci, hoping that the height advantage would work. And Jake just probably did not need to commit that penalty, but you feel helpless. You know, you're out there, you're outsized. You see a guy in the end zone who you think is open. You feel the ball coming. It's a tough play to make, but it's a penalty you can't commit. So now 2:49 to go. They're 2 yards away from really sealing this game.
So it's a first down for Pembroke.
First and goal at the 2.
Ball on the 2, 2:49 left to go in this one. A touchdown and conversion would put them up 11 points. A touchdown and 2 would put them up 12. We go back to the full house backfield. Double tight end. Kelly under center. The give is up the middle. He stopped initially.
Lane, the ball carrier.
And stopped permanently before he gets to the end zone.
Good push. Good push from the defensive line. You got to do it 3 more times.
Timeout is trying to be called by Coach Pindell.
Oh, wow. Yeah, that was that took a long time for that timeout to be called. If you're thinking timeout, you got to be prepared to call that timeout right away. I mean, that play ended at 2:42, 2:41, and there's 2:29 right now.
Assistant coaches up here in the booth are unhappy that none of the referees were looking at the sideline for Westwood, anticipating a timeout, and because of that, they, by their count, counted almost 10 seconds went off before the timeout was granted.
Fans, I have another cell phone.
This is the place where cell phones go to die, evidently.
Got a colorful case, kind of marbly, pink purple. Is this an iPhone?
I think this is the 4th or 5th one we've heard.
I think we're up to 4.
Right now, Mom.
I love that he reads the text over the PA.
From your mom, you're getting a text right now. So check if you've got your phone, young people.
Second and 1. Ball is on the 1. They gained a yard on that last play.
Couldn't think of a better way for this game to end than for Westwood to force a fumble that's recovered and run back 99 yards. Come on, dream big.
That'd be nice. It's a long run. Up the middle, and he's in for the score.
It's the Beef.
Nathan Beef.
Nathan Beef, ball carrier, into the end zone for the touchdown.
That makes it a 10-point margin, 24-14. Pembroke in the lead with 2:24 left to go. The clock will not run on the extra point.
So in the last 6.5 minutes of this game, you saw a turnover at midfield, you saw a personal foul which led to a first down, and you saw a pass interference that led to a first down.
Mistakes.
Any one of those three could be costly. The three of them put together, deadly.
And we're not sure who the identity, what the identity of the person who got the personal foul, but I guarantee you Coach Pindell knows, and he'll have a talking to. There's Beef, and again for the 2-point. Makes it 26 Pembroke, 14 for Westwood.
2-point conversion try successful.
So Westwood needs to score a lot in a hurry, and
that's not something they've been able to do tonight.
They've scored 14. It took them almost 4 quarters to score 14 points, and they need to score 13 to win this in the next 2.5 minutes.
Well, what are we seeing from Pembroke? You know, we've seen good skill players who are big, who move the pile, who keep their legs moving, 3 running backs who were undeterred throughout the night. They got a big wide receiver who's got 2 touchdown passes and a quarterback who's really confident in the pocket. Hey, I'm not saying Pembroke's going to go 8-0,
We are 4 for 4.
but that's a pretty good combination.
You're right.
Especially coming out of the gate.
They've done
Week
what
1.
they needed to do, and they have had holes when they needed holes to be made. They've had them. They ran confidently through them, quick. Westwood just has not had an answer for that up-the-middle run defense. So Healy will put his foot into it at the 40. Westwood, a run back here obviously would solve a lot of their problems. Maybe make sure you get the ball in the hands of Antonucci. And they're kicking it to Fay. He finds a little bit of a seam, but it's quickly closed up at the 31-yard line. And the offense goes to work there.
That is a tough tackle to make in the open field, and that was a great job by Matt Smith, who's a senior, taking down Fay, because Fay did have a sliver of space that he was gunning for, and it closed very quickly.
2:18 left to go. Wilson huddling his team up, something we haven't seen them do much this game. Maybe just reminders of what's needed to happen here. Obviously, Westwood would like a quick strike. if at all possible.
Well, if nothing else, you're going to see these guys pick up the pace, and that's something we haven't seen tonight. I mean, obviously, you hope that with 2 minutes left, they're going to pick up the pace and at least try to punch one in here.
Wide open over the middle.
Wilson's pass complete to Fay.
Colin Fay over the middle there. Nice pass. And we're going to have a injury timeout. I think that's Fay who's still down on the ground. No, he's up.
He got up.
The tackler was down on the ground. Clock stops with the first down.
7 seconds off the clock there, and all of a sudden you're on the 47-yard line.
And now it begins again.
Down for Westwood, 1st and 10 at the Pembroke 47.
They should be ready to go.
Coming up on 2 minutes.
They got to be ready to go. As soon as that clock runs, you should be snapping it. They just wasted 11 seconds, 12, 13 before snapping the ball.
And still surveying the defense and making a long call here. Yeah, they wasted a lot of time in that play call. Pass is complete to McDonald out on the left side, but he stays in bounds. Pass is good for about 8 yards. Clock keeps ticking. 2nd and 2. Minute and a half left to go. Clock is still running. Wilson, not sure what that play was about.
Well, Wilson wasn't looking for the ball. He didn't anticipate it was going to be snapped, but it's almost like the center has more urgency than the quarterback right now. Because the clock is, when the seconds go off the clock, they don't come back. And when you're down 12 points, you got to move.
Pembroke player down on the ground was the one almost got to Wilson in the backfield before he threw it away. Players take their knee.
I give Wilson credit on that one. That was not easy to catch. That snap came right into his gut when he wasn't even looking. And he was able to make a play out of it. These guys have the skill. There's no question that they can get it done. It's just a matter of everybody getting on the same page, picking up the urgency a little bit, feeling more comfortable with the offense and figuring out what you can do well, and then putting yourself in a position where you can run the plays that you want to run at the time you want to run them. And that's the most difficult part of football, because it's so situational that there could be a play that you run well, but if it can only get you 7-8 yards at a clip, it's not the right play call for every situation.
It's Brian Burns was the man down. Plays left defensive end for the defense in Pembroke. Looks like it might be a lower leg.
He's also scored a couple touchdowns tonight.
That's a good point.
He's had a busy night.
He was player of the game multiple times last year for Pembroke. Not always in victory, but he was a standout player for them as a junior last year. This year he's a senior. Hoping for him that injury is not anything to keep him out of any further games. Clock was stopped with the incomplete pass. Wilson takes the snap, rolling. They got a screen set up right. Colin Fay moves ahead for the first down. Stopped abruptly as he approached the 35-yard line.
Well, clock's going to stop until they reset the chains, but as soon as those chains are reset and the whistle
play.
blows, you got to snap it. You got to be ready. Got to know going in what the next play is going to be.
It's important to note the quarterback is running over to talk to coach, so
there we go.
That's an interception. McDonald and Wilson were on different pages there. Fay is giving chase to Watts, but he can't bring him down, and it's going to go in.
Touchdown, Pembroke.
I think McDonald ran an out pattern. Wilson was thinking he was running an in, and the only one there left to catch it was Kyle Watts. Going to leave a sour taste in the mouth of Westwood. They didn't want to end with a loss. They certainly didn't want to end with a pick six under a minute to go. Really makes the score look like it wasn't a competitive game. And for the most part, it was.
And it was 14-12. They had a lead 14-12 going into the fourth quarter, and you can actually compare it to last night's game. Patriots had a 27-21 lead going into the fourth quarter and lost the game 42-27. So with this extra point, if it's converted, Pembroke will have scored 21 points in the fourth quarter alone. But it's one of those games that you're going to, as a coaching staff, probably want to look at the film and point to all the things that can be improved on. That's the thing. I think that the Westwood team has talent as the kick goes through to make it 33-14. But it's just a matter of getting in sync with the head coach, getting in sync with the coordinators, figuring out exactly what you want to do, figuring out what your strengths are. And I think that this team has the capability of doing that. I liked seeing the young kids, particularly the sophomores. We saw a lot of good play out of the three key sophomores who we've highlighted a couple of times here tonight, James and Hall. If we can figure out ways to get them a little bit more involved. The other thing that's jumped out to me about this game on both sides, we talk about the number of injuries. I think that's in some ways reflective of how they practice now. Much different from how we practiced even 5, 10, 15 years ago. There's just not a lot of contact in the practices. They've had a couple of scrimmages, yes, but tonight's the first night where they got to go a full 44 minutes pounding each other. And how's the body going to respond? And we've seen some nicks and bruises along the way, some cramping which comes at this time of year, so maybe it's a wake-up call to both sides to just spend some more time getting the conditioning up.
You're right. One of the things that's often overlooked in trying to elevate player safety is knowing that being tackled and tackling is a skill, and knowing how to fall is something that you only learn to do as you're being tackled. And if you're not being tackled in practice, and the first time it happens here in a game, you might land awkwardly, whereas you might understand how to tuck the shoulder and avoid the shoulder injury that we saw Dylan Mahoney sustain in the first half, where they lost their safety in the first half. Another sophomore. Ball's bouncing around in the kickoff. Fielded by, not sure who that was, for the Wolverines.
That's 24. Chris.
We'll go with Chris.
No, Chris Bezdedianu, is that it? It's got to be right. Bezdedianu. That's where I wish I had kids in high school. Bezdedianu, there it is.
Bezdedianu, okay.
First and 10, Westwood at their own 32.
It looks like Coach Pindell is making some subs out there, knowing this game is not going to end in their favor. He's going to get some other players in there, perhaps, who hadn't seen much time. Reed Wilson is still in there, quarterback. And look to be just giving the ball off to Shamar Hall. He bounces it off the right side. Nicely done. Pickup of about 5 or 6 yards. And unless Westwood does a quick snap here, that may do it, as he did not get out of bounds, so the clock continues.
And that's the worst thing you want to see. Hall's banged up again. He's had some issues with injury throughout the night. And there's going to be one final injury timeout here with Shamar Hall going down on that last play. And that one, where before it looked like he had some issues on the upper body, this looks like a lower body injury. Could be a cramp, could be something with his ankle.
But they do have a number of kids who can run the football. And I'm not certain, I mean, anything can happen at any point in time in the game, but these runs mean nothing to the outcome of the game. So maybe you just put somebody back there to handle it. Let the clock run out. Westwood plays non-league opponent Norwood next week. And in the rest of the Tri-Valley League, Hopkinton is playing tonight against Wayland. Norton and Medway are meeting head-to-head. Medfield plays Dedham tonight, and Holliston plays Millis. And Holliston actually started their season last week on the 1st. They played Framingham. That's former Westwood coach Ed Mantai's new team, and they beat them 34-6.
And you got Holliston coming in here in 2 weeks, so you've got yourself an 8-day preparation period to get ready for the Norwood game, which is next Saturday afternoon. And then right after that, Holliston, who is perennially not only your rival, but one of the best teams in the state of Massachusetts, coming to your field here in 2 weeks' time. So they need to get their act together. That's the bottom line. And I think these guys will look in the mirror tonight and they'll understand that they can do that. This is a team that has some talent, and I think they're going to look at the end result tonight and say, we are much, much better than a 33-14 loss.
The last play of the game.
Well, they lost their first 2 games last year. Didn't hurt them at all from the playoff perspective. They were able to gain enough points. Obviously made the playoffs, losing to eventual Super Bowl champ Falmouth. Coach Pindell, he's got to point out the positives. He's got to coach up the negatives. There's a lot of negatives. There were plenty of positives to build on. So hopefully next week in Norwood we see a little bit more polished team. The defense, I think, did a good job. Offense needs some work.
2 weeks from tomorrow.
But the big picture, you know what? High school football is back. And I know in this town, a lot of people were excited about that. I know I have 2 girls, one's in middle school and one's still in elementary school. They were excited to be here tonight. It's a community event. Everybody gets a chance to see each other. It's something that brings everybody together every once in a while. And looking forward to doing it at least 3 more times before the playoffs.
Interesting, just a quick note about Westwood High School sports. The Globe reported that last spring, Westwood came in second of all Division III schools in winning percentage for its varsity teams at 65%, losing only to Marblehead, who had a 69% winning percentage for all of the spring sport teams. So Westwood, it's a town that really pushes academics, but also really pushes athletics.
Well, thanks for letting me tag along.
Had a great time.
Yeah,
thanks for coming.
We're not Madden and Summerall.
That's all right.
We're Madden and something, though.
Maybe the Madden curse. I don't know. But thank you very much for coming, and we'll see you in a couple weeks.
Good stuff.
Take care, Westwood. We'll see you in a few. Bye-bye.